And a pleasant good evening to you. Welcome inside historic Bossy Field. The host for tonight's game between the Schaumburg Boomers and Evansville Otters. Evansville on a historic streak of wins right now. And boy, has the heavens opened up today. A lot of rain in the area, but it looks like we're going to be good for a ball game here this evening.
Well, I'll agree with you out there where I live in the country, Emerfeld. You are right. It rained, and it poured. So I didn't think we were going to get tonight's game in, to be honest with you, Matthew.
Well, it's good that we're all here and we're able to finish this series. Like I mentioned, Evansville going for a pretty historic win. If they can win tonight, it's the longest winning streak in franchise history.
Really?
They had 9 right now, and they had 9 back in 2008 as well. Of course, that 9-game winning streak in 08 was followed by 6 straight losses, and then later in the season, a big losing streak. It was a pretty bad year for the Otters all around, but it started really good. But tonight they have the chance to make it 10 straight, and it's against this Schaumburg team who has given them everything they could handle in these last 2 nights. Last night, I thought we finally saw a game from the Otters that proved that they're a 3 or 4-dimensional team, that they're not just a home run hitting team. They're not just a starting pitching team. The bullpen helped last night. The sac flies and sacrifice bunts helped last night. That was a game that seemed like every box was checked for the
Well,
the
I'll
Otters.
agree with you. And one of the people that you're talking about, without mentioning their name, but I will, that was Armstrong,
Absolutely.
who put a beautiful bunt down that moved the runners from first to second to third. Later, someone, or might have been Gordon, or I'm not sure, got the sacrifice fly, tied the game. And then later, Armstrong got a sacrifice fly to put us ahead 2-1. So you're right in what you're saying. Good description.
Well, and it's really uplifting, especially when you've got the best home running hitting team in the Frontier League, the Evansville Otters, to see them win a game without having to rely on the home run. Of course, the home run was the end-up game winner, but other than that, that's not a game-winning home run without the small ball.
No, you're right. But I mean, the home run was the cincher that gave us the third RBI, but it was the little ball that set up number 1, number 2. Right.
Well, and it was nice to see George Khalil being the one who got the home run, his first career home run at Bossy Field. I'm sure the first of many, and he's put together quite the week. He's got 3 home runs in his last 3 games.
Well, yes, he gets a lot of credit for that home run, but I give him credit for that beautiful catch he made when we were in a critical situation. The bases were loaded, and he ran. I thought he was a Kentucky Derby candidate, running from shortstop over to the left field area, and he made a spectacular catch. So to me, that was the game-winning play.
Well, and for him to make that kind of play that saved Parker Brahms on the mound, go back up there in the next half inning for his at-bat, and that's when he got the home run.
Right. You've been in baseball a long time, and it seems like the history of baseball is you make an outstanding play in the field to end the inning, the defensive inning, and then here comes the offensive inning, and for some miraculous reason, you're one of the batters in that forthcoming inning. And that's the way baseball works.
Well, the Otters did get the 3-2 win. It made the case that they have won the series against Schaumburg, and like I mentioned, have now 9 straight wins to their name. Let's look through the Frontier League standings now. It's led by Washington, but only by a half game now. Otters are right on their tails there in the second position. Joliet and Schaumburg and Gateway all in a 3-way tie for third, 8 games back. That's a little bit of a bump back to Lake Erie at 11.5 back, Windy City at 12 back, Florence at 14. This West Division has gotten very interesting there in that middle parts. Going to be a fun little week and a half to the All-Star game to see where people stand at the break.
Well, if I'm going to interrupt you, generally I get to these ball games by my son-in-law driving me here, and my son picks me up and takes me home. On the way to the game tonight, my son-in-law, Jason Sapp, and I were talking, and I said, we'd be in first place. And I was describing last night how the field umpire and the home umpire both put their hands up in the air, indicating an infield fly, which helped the Otters out in that inning. I said, you go back 2 weeks or so ago, when the umpires failed to execute the infield fly rule, We ended up losing that game because the umpires didn't do their job. And I said, that was a good reason for a protest. It wasn't a safe out call. It was a rule call. Anyway, let's go back to that game. If we had won that game, we'd be in first place by half a game.
Well, and it's one of those that's a thank goodness the postseason is not decided today.
Yes.
We still have half the season left to go.
Right.
Hopefully that game is not one that comes back to haunt the Otters, as a lot of games probably did last year.
Right. But a lot of times when you get to the end of the season and you're paying to see the game instead of being part of the game, you say, if we had only, and you're right. Right now it counts, but in a way it don't count. So,
well, the Otters have now won a total of 10 series this year. 7 of those 10 series have been here at Bosse Field. It seems to be when this team's playing at home. I don't think it's the fact that they get to play in front of their own fans. I think that helps, but I think the last inning has been a huge factor throughout this year for the Otters.
I'll agree with you, and I'll tell you what. Thank God there's a doctor down on that bench, because those of us who have a weak heart, our hearts are pounding in those 8th and 9th innings when we have the bases loaded, no outs, and it's a 3-1 game. And you're saying, "Oh my God, please, Lord, let's get the strikeout and then the double play."
Well, we want to look through the 2 starting lineups. First, for the Schaumburg Boomers, we'll look again as the game begins. It is a ton of lefties. William Solis is the only right-handed hitter in the lineup tonight. They are obviously going lefty-heavy against Austin Gossman on the mound for the Otters. We'll look more into the starting lineup here in the first inning. As for the Evansville Otters, the big new face in the lineup is going to be the catcher Devin Buckner, batting in the 8th spot this evening, making his professional debut tonight.
Is that the young man we just signed the other day?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the new catcher, hoping to fill the huge shoes of Dakota Phillips for the time being.
I know my wife was asking, have we finally found out what the problem was? And I said, well, according to Matthew, the way he described it to me, it was a Pete Rose slide back into second base or something where he somehow injured his finger. And I said, his finger, and then I said something about my wrist, and my son-in-law says, yeah, I think the fingers belong with the wrist.
Yeah, we haven't got the exact details of it yet, because I don't think he's had all of the tests come back yet, but it does sound like it's something internal with the left hand.
Yeah.
So it's just a waiting game right now to see what they decide.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Now, Dakota Phillips is one of the candidates for the All-Star game, and he's listed as a catcher. Now, hypothetically, I hope his mother's listening, which I'm quite sure she is. Hypothetically, he makes that All-Star team, but he's not qualified to play. He could suit up and be on the team, but then we'll need a replacement for him. So, in essence, he's a member, but he's an inactive member. Am I correct?
Yeah, the league announced that they built in extra spots on the rosters to have, just in case a player is injured when it comes time to play in the game. They have built it in that there's extra players available. So he could still be honored as an all-star and not play in the game.
Right. That's the most important, to be recognized as an all-star.
Yes.
Even though you may not be in uniform, or you could be in uniform, but you're not eligible to play or not able to play. So, the honor, I played a few years of baseball, and to make an all-star team is an honor. It means here you are, a member of a team in a league that's got 5 teams, 7 teams, 10 teams, whatever the league has, and they consider you the best. Now, that's an honor. And so for Dakota, I hope he makes the All-Star team, and I hope he's in uniform.
Well, I think it means even more to some of these guys who maybe know this might be the highest level of baseball I get to play.
You're right.
And right now I'm playing this because I love the game of baseball, and I'm trying to get myself to the next level, but this might be it for me. And if it is, reaching the All-Star game in the highest level of baseball you think you can play is a huge achievement for these guys.
I'll agree with you 100%.
I mean, it really doesn't matter what league you're part of. If you're
right.
recognized as one of the best, that's a huge accomplishment.
But the thing is, being the best is selected by your team, by your opponents. not by your teammates, but by the opposing coaches and managers and radio broadcaster like yourself. You are the people who see every day, and you see the ins and the outs, and you're the people that select those guys.
Well, because you're pretty sure that just about every single person that gets to vote will vote heavily for their own team. But then they have those other one or two votes for every position. That's where the All-Star team's decided. That's where you look at the most well-deserved players.
Yeah, right. You're right. Go back to 2007. You were talking about one of our players, one of the Boomers players that's one shy of the all-time triple record. Well, in 2007, I think that's when that record was set by someone from the Washington Wildcats and Wild Things. And I remember selecting. I was one of the ones that had the pleasure of selecting those ball players. How could you leave a guy like that off the All-Star team, even if he was batting 100? And so you've got to be very selective, but you got to be honest with yourself.
I tell you what, it was a hard decision. There's a lot of very well-deserved players on that list. There was a separate voting, of course, for West and East Division. We're only voting for the West Division because it's what we've seen the most of. The East Division will vote on their own. I'm excited to see on Monday when teams are announced exactly what it looks like, because there's a lot of well-deserved players on all those lists.
Right. And I hope Dakota makes it. And Mom, back there in Big Texas, I hope you've made hotel reservations already.
Well, we'll let you know as soon as we know who's made that All-Star game on Monday. Keep an eye on the social media. As for right now, time to take a break for the national anthem. Right after that, we've got first pitch here from historic Bosse Field between the Boomers and Otters, coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Just about time for first pitch, but first, Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Working Distributors Evansville. And without further ado, let's introduce you to the man on the mound this evening for the Evansville Otters. It's Austin Gossman, the 5'10", 190-pound second-year rookie. Hails from Avon, Indiana, played at the University of Southern Indiana, and will look to keep what has been a pretty good streak for him going. On the season, Gossman has a 3-1 overall record. He's given up 16 runs on 38 hits, but of the 16 runs, only 11 of them are earned. He has a 40-14 strikeout to walk ratio. Again, here's a look through the Schaumburg lineup. A lot of lefties. Chase Dawson, the Frontier League's leader in triples, and just one off the all-time record. will lead things off. Craig, Hart, Davidson, Botcher round out the top half. Solis, the one righty, is there in the 6-hole. Wiley, Odo, and Milazzo round out things at the bottom. Well, I'm eager to see how these first couple of innings go. Last night we had 2 3-up, 3-down innings, one on either side in the first inning. But then it was in the second that a lot of batters started to get a little more patient, started to earn some walks, some stolen bases and sac flies moved guys over, and it made some really difficult challenges for the pitchers on the mound. I'm eager to see how the change in weather today could change things, and more importantly, what discipline has changed after 2 nights facing the same team.
Well, I'm interesting. You mentioned Ghostin is a graduate of University of Southern Indiana. He came with us last year at mid-season, and he did a yeoman's job and really was an asset to the Otters last year, and so far he is this year as well. So, he's got 40 strikeouts to 14 walks. So I'm counting on Mr. Ghostin to be aggressive tonight, throw strikes, and get the win. And it'll be an experience with the new catcher. So that's going to be something that we'll have to observe.
Yeah, Devin Buckner is the catcher this evening, making his professional debut this evening. He was signed earlier this week. He hails out of University of South Carolina upstate. Gossman's ready on the bump, and the first pitch home is sent to the right side, picked up by Armstrong on the ground, over to first in time for out number 1. 6:37 is the first pitch.
I tell you what, that Dawson got down that base pretty fast. Now I can see why he's got that many triples, because he's a rabbit. He can fly. But again, just pay a little tribute to that man on second, the human Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, you can hit one really hard, and you can hit it really accurately, but it's hard to get one past Andy Armstrong out there.
He's got soft hands out there.
Austin Gossman finished last year as 6th in the Frontier League in strikeouts with 101. But the records didn't really favor him. He won his very first 2 professional starts, but then his next 7 results last year were all losses. But a lot of them were because the team fell back at the 7th inning when he was still in, or a lot of no decisions because the team fell behind after he was pulled. So
right.
He had a lot of strong performances last year. He earned his first professional win in his first professional game against Gateway.
Yep.
And ever since, he's just been working slowly up.
Well, that's why I don't like that much relying on statistics, because they don't really show the true reason for a record. As you say, Grossman, I thought, pitched well last year. Yes. You could be ahead 4-5 and okay, there's 2 men on base, and they take you out and put a reliever on. The guy gives up base hit, the 2-run score, the game, you lose. But really, it wasn't you that gave up those runs. It was the reliever. But yet you're charged with the loss.
Well, one stat that does stand out to me about Gossman, and it's worth noting, he's made 2 starts at Gateway so far this year. And in those 2 starts he's had at Gateway, he's given up a combined 3 runs, none on the home run.
Wow.
If he's a pitcher that can go 14 innings at Gateway and not give up the long ball, he's doing something right.
You ain't kidding. Gateway is the home of the home runs.
1-2 to Craig. Crank to the right side. Nice backhand play by Bierman, and it brings over to first in time for Gossman to get out number 2. That took a weird hop on Bierman, and he made a good, really quick adjustment.
I've got nothing against our first baseman. We've got several catchers. We've got several first basemen. We've got several third basemen. But I like Bierman on first. I think he's got a good glove, he's got good range, and he's got a good bat.
Well, that'll bring up the 3-hole hitter, Mike Hart, the left fielder. Hart this season batting .333 in the 3 games he's played for this team thus far. Let's look through the defensive alignment for the Otters. It's Davis, Gordon, Baez, left to right across the outfield once again. Torrales, Khalil, Armstrong, Bierman, left to right across the infield. Buckner behind the plate. First pitch to Hart is a swinging strike low for strike 1.
And that wasn't overpowering. It was an 85-mile-an-hour fastball, but yet the Hart was a little slow on that. So if he throws a 90-mile, he'll probably be 3 blocks behind.
0-1.
That looks
Oh,
like a
man.
strike.
Thought that was going to get a called strike on the inside edge. It was not, though.
Now, I was talking to one of our employees earlier today. We're talking about the umpiring, and he admitted, in his opinion, he said, I thought last night that umpire was squeezing him. I said, well, that's the way Matthew and I saw it, too.
A 1-1 to Hart. Swinging strike 2. And at times, I don't even think it was necessarily that the zone felt squeezed. What it felt like to me is that every inning it had shifted again.
Right.
Because I think right away Parker Braum saw, I'm going to get the called strike on the outside edge. And that's how he zoomed through that first inning.
Right.
In the second inning, suddenly the outside strike was gone and he had to adjust completely.
Exactly. Good. You described it very, very well.
A 1-2 to Mike Hart. Gossman sends it home.
Strike 3.
Oh, great pitch on the inside edge, but it's once again left alone.
You know, my son-in-law Jason and I were talking today on the way about robot umpiring. Seems like last night there was a call by the Mets, and I don't know, he was describing it with the umpire. Anyway, there was a controversial call last night. We were talking about robot umpiring.
A 2-2 to Hart. Bounces in for ball 3. And one of the comments made by MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred earlier this week is that he was hoping by 2024 the entire MLB would be switched to robot umpiring.
Oh, I hope not.
I'm in the same boat. I'm not a fan.
I am. You can't take the human element out of the game.
Part of baseball is that guy there wearing all black is a human. He makes mistakes. That's part of the game of baseball.
That's right, and that's why you need him out there.
That's what separates a good pitcher from a great pitcher, the one that can adjust to any umpire and still throw strikes.
All right. Well, let's after this pitch, I've got a question.
The 3-2 to Hart. Crank towards right field. Baez chasing back towards the wall.
Here.
He's watching it, and it is gone. A solo home run in the top of the first has given the Boomers a lead. That cleared the entire Corona Patio party deck, and the Boomers have the lead of the game.
I don't know if you watched it, Mr. Baez out there in right field. He just coasted, and he kept looking over his head.
He took maybe 2 strong steps, and that's when he was done.
Exactly. He knew it was gone from the crack of the bat. You're right. And for Mr. Grossman's case, that was a fastball, chest high, letter high, and he really destroyed that pitch. The batter, Mr. Hart.
That'll bring up the first baseman, Braxton Davidson. If there's one thing we can tell you about him thus far in this series, he has really tried to swing the bat hard, but a lot of the time he's come up empty-handed.
You ain't kidding.
Makes contact with the first pitch here, takes a weird hop. Armstrong handles it in plenty of time. It's over to first for out number 3, but not before. Mike Hart sends one flying over the right field wall, and after 1/2 inning, Schaumburg's got themselves a 1-low lead early in the game. We head to the bottom half of the first inning here, and Kyle Arjona takes the mound for Schaumburg. He made a start against Evansville the last time these two squads played. In that game, Evansville won 11-10. He pitched 4 1/3 innings in that game, gave up 9 runs on 11 hits. But that's because 3 home runs really damaged his day. Arjona has some stats that do not tell you the kind of pitcher he is. He's 1-4 with a 6.55 ERA, but other than 1 or 2 struggle games, he's been very good this year.
Okay, well, we had that interlude during the change of teams being offensive. I observed the manager for the Boomers coming over and talking to Andy, and they were discussing something to my knowledge, I had no idea. And as Andy was going back, they were still talking. All of a sudden, Travis, the general manager of the Otters, come running out of the dugout, and then finally they waved him away. And what do you think the problem was? The Boomer bullpen still had the cover on the mound. So then they relieved it, and that was the problem. So that's what the manager was complaining about.
Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game, is Miles Gordon. Third pitch he sees, he cranks towards right field. Wiley seems to be underneath it, and he is indeed for out number 1. As you can see on your screen, or if you're listening on here, we'll let you know the Boomers are wearing their fluorescent orange tops with white Boomers written across the front, black numbering on the back. As for the Otters, they're wearing their blue tops with the script Otters in white on front, numbers in white on the back. I tell you what, I am absolutely in love with the Schaumburg Boomers hats. I saw them down during warm-ups, and I might have to add them to the list of hats I'd like to acquire. They've got the one of the logos for Schaumburg has like a squirrel in it, or like a some sort of rodent. That's their like
really?
kind of
not an otter, no.
No, it's not an otter.
Not an
but
otter.
The hats do look nice, almost Baltimore Oriole-ish.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Ball pushed down the left field line. Going to be a close play. Is it down? No. It's called foul right at the edge.
Oh, boy, that was a double easily, but it was a matter of inches, I think, from the way I saw it.
Absolutely. That was a very close play.
Yeah. You know, Bierman, he has power to all fields. And to me, he's listed, as you showed me, he's listed as an outfielder on the All-Star team, not as a first baseman. And I hope that there's quite a few outfielders. So I thought his chances of being a first baseman was better.
Well, that was what kind of disappointed me, is as soon as I saw he was an outfielder, it's like, man, that's going to be really tough to sneak into the All-Star game as an outfielder.
Right.
Now, it's possible he could be one of the extra outfielders and they've put him somewhere else. I assume that's probably possible.
Yeah,
but
still listing him as an outfielder was an injustice. He played most of his games at first at DH. That's the way he should have been listed. In the meantime, you know, you're competing for an outfield spot, and there's a lot of good outfielders in this league.
Cranked ball to the right side. Backhanded play by Davidson. He'll throw to first in time for out number 2. That is a really good snag from Davidson there at first.
Yeah, it was.
3-1 on the putout. There's 2 up, 2 down as the left fielder J.R. Davis heads to the plate. Davis enters the game with a .294 batting average.
Now, J.R. is listed as one of the All-Stars, too, is he not?
I believe so. He was one of the nominees, yes.
Yes.
As a second baseman.
You just corrected me. He's a nominee, not a candidate, a nominee.
First pitch to Davis. Inside, ball 1. Came near the hands. Bases are empty. There's 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Otters trail by 1. Next one stays low and inside. Extends the count to 2-0.
That first baseman's playing close, isn't he? I mean,
seems like it.
Yeah, for a right-hand hitter to be playing that close and so far away.
The 2-0.
3-0.
This is as well inside.
Yeah.
So one thing is very clear for both Arjona and Gossman. They're not getting the inside strike right now.
Right.
The 3-0 to J.R. Davis. And that one is a called strike on the inside edge.
And JR made the big mistake, which so many do. They assume it's a ball and start their run to first. I think the umpires retaliate and just call it a strike because you made them look like a fool.
The 3-1, a half swing, is sent back into the netting. The count is now full.
And I always said, let the umpire call it, not you. And it seems like if I saw 99 batters start taking off the first, I've seen 99 umpires say, no, it's strike one or strike two, whatever.
3 balls, 2 strikes for J.R. Davis. Again sent back into the netting, and he'll live to see another pitch.
What's more embarrassing, and I know you've seen it, and I as well, for a batter to take off for first base on a 3-2 count, and the umpire says, no, son, come back here, strike 3.
Again, on the 3-2 to Davis. Zoomed to the left side, played on 2 hops by the third baseman Salas. Over to first in plenty of time, and it's 3 up, 3 down for the Otters here in the first inning. After 1 full, it's Schaumburg 1, Evansville 0, as we have a bit of a rainy evening, but tell you what, temperature's a little cooled down. Nice night for a conclusion of a great series between these two teams.
Yeah, the last 2 nights have been a little warm. I think it affected our attendance because nobody wants to sit out here in the hot sun.
Second inning coming at you next. To the top of the second we go, and well, now the Otters are having to approach things a little bit differently. Down by 1 run after a booming home run. Most importantly, Gossman's just got to let it stay behind him and focus on the rest of the game.
Well, it takes 1 run to win the game. Mm-hmm. So that 1 run that they have with the home run don't mean nothing. You need 1 run anyway. So the Otters are still in the game.
Matt Botcher will lead off the half inning for this Schaumburg team. Enters the day with the best batting average in the Frontier League at 400 even.
Yeah, but he came in here at 425, and now he's just 400. So that means we've put a little mousetrap on his bat.
An 0-1, it's dribbled foul to the right side. In fact, most of the season, he's spent time in either the 2 or 3 spots in the lineup, right up there with the best hitters on the team.
Right.
He was demoted down to the 5 hole for this evening's game after going 0 for 8 in his first 2 games of the series.
Wow. 0 for 8.
He has yet to make it on base so far in this series.
I hope he doesn't do that tonight. He keeps his record intact.
The 0-2. A half swing.
Yes,
they say
him.
yes,
tag
he
him,
did.
Tag him. All right.
And he starts walking away, so.
That's an automatic out. The minute he walked back to the bench, the catcher did not have to throw to first. He didn't have to make a tag. He already accepted he was out. The umpire just rules it.
Now, concerning just a second there for Buckner, as he was going to turn around, he slipped on a piece of really wet dirt up there, and he quickly turned back around after the play was dead to go find where he slipped. So obviously some of this dirt's still absorbing a little bit of water.
Okay. Well, one thing Buckner did do is he kept that pitch in front of him.
First pitch to William Salas, the only righty in the starting 9 for Schaumburg tonight. First offering to him is outside ball 1. That is the first strikeout of the game, by the way, for Austin Gossman, a German-American bank strikeout.
Well, actually, it's the first strikeout in the game for either team. You're right.
Long way to up on the bump for Gossman. He's looking in and finally nods. The 1-0. Coming home now. Called strike, a very late call there from the home plate umpire, which is Ty Unthink. The umpire on the right side of the infield this evening, Matt Beaver. On the left side, Brandon Spivak. A 1-1 to Solis. Called strike on the outside edge, another late call.
Well, I don't want to say nothing, but I think that was a bad call because our catcher, Buckner, moved that over the plate, which was a ball.
He snuck that one in there.
He did. And as an umpire, you know it's when you pass the plate, not where the catcher ends up receiving it.
The 1-2. Solis pushes it to the right side, down for a base hit in the wet stuff, and it just dies, so he's going to try to extend it 2. Baez's throw to second, and it goes off the glove of Khalil. Khalil was in the perfect place to make that tag. He's shaking some dirt out of his glove. I think he was worried he was going to get slid into and lost control of the ball on the way in.
Well, that was a reach at. When he extended that bat low and outside, he just reached, and fortunately, it went down the right field line in a puddle of water, which we didn't know until it splashed up, which I think made it difficult for Baez to throw with a wet ball.
Well, as soon as that ball got over there, it died.
Yes.
So he saw that opportunity as a chance to grab an extra base, and he certainly did. He's awarded a double. First pitch to Wiley, swinging strike 1, has him down in the count.
Well, you know what impressed me? I know you've talked about that third baseman we got down there, Anthony. If you notice on the throw from Baez to second, Anthony was backing up the throw. He was in short left field, which again left third base unoccupied. That's when Grossman came over and covered. Those are the things you look for in a team that are heads up.
That's professional baseball players playing Little League baseball.
Exactly.
Doing the basic things that they have to do to stay in control of a game.
Right. Well, you see so many pitchers, they think they've got one job, and that's to throw the pitch. And they never leave that mound. They don't back up third. They don't run home on a wild pitch and a run around third. They just stay there on the mound. They misunderstand their purpose of being a member of the team.
So Gossman's ready on the 0-2 to Wiley. Feels like Gossman's had a lot of 0-2 and 1-2 counts so far in this game.
Right.
The 0-2 to Jordan Wiley. It's cranked toward the right side and foul. Will end up in the bullpen of the Otters.
Have you noticed these left-handers, and you mentioned it, 8 out of the 9 are left-handers. They're all pulling that ball. There's been a lot of foul balls going down the first base line.
Well, I tell you what, it's one thing to challenge the pitcher having a different-handed batter, but it's also going to, I think, really test J.R. Davis because those balls that get pushed to left field are going to be curving on him, like you mentioned last night.
Right.
And could make his life a little more difficult out there. An 0-2 to Wiley.
Strike.
Called strike 3 at the elbows. It's the second German-American bank strikeout of the game for Austin Gossman. This one, the first called strike 3.
Well, I don't understand why the batter just stood there. I mean, that was a perfect strike. Let her high down the middle of the plate, and for him to stand there and look and then talk to the umpire and say, where was it? I tell you what, he ought to have his eyes examined. Go see an eye doctor after this trip.
The catcher, Nick Odo, heads to the plate. Just a few nights ago, he set the Schaumburg Boomers record for most games played, and now he just gets to keep claiming that one with every play he has. Tough play by Armstrong. Plays it into his chest, gets it to first in time for out number 3. And the Otters do not let a one-out double come back to haunt them. We've played 1.5. Schaumburg still holding on to a 1-0 lead. We head to the bottom half of the second inning. Otters went 3 up, 3 down in the first, so it's Sinsley, Baez, and Khalil due up. You know, it's about taking a couple innings. You know, you prefer to be less than a couple innings, but taking a couple innings to see what Carl Arjona has tonight and what areas of his game you can start to expose and capitalize on.
Well, you know, a lot of times, I haven't been down in the dugout for years, but a lot of times in the past, my time, after a batter would come back from batting, he'd come to the bench and he'd say, be careful, he's got a heck of a good curveball, he's got a good slider, watch his fastball, it moves. That's teammates talking to each other and helping each other.
When you'll see it really often when the Otters strike out, before they get back to the dugout, they'll say something to the on-deck guy behind him. Just warning him. Yeah.
That's a lot of, you know, it's an important thing to know. Here you are looking for a curveball when the pitcher don't have one. And the guy that's in front of you says, hey, don't worry. All he throws you is fastballs. Hey, thanks, buddy. I needed that.
Steven Sinsley kicks off the second inning for the Otters, starts with a foul ball into the netting. Sinsley in the DH spot this evening, batting .282 as we enter the contest.
I think he does a good job as a DH, to be honest with you. He's got a good glove, but I'd rather have Bierman on the base. I'll be honest. Leave Sinsley as the DH.
The 1-1 to Sinsley gets a bit too far inside for ball 2. The thing that both Sinsley and Bierman do exceptionally is dig balls out of the dirt. They do a very good job of extending their bodies and on a bad throw from one of their infielders, making sure they keep it in their gloves.
Scooping.
Yeah.
Okay.
2-1, lifted high and foul to the left side. It will get out of play. Evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Otters only had 4 hits in last night's game. 4 hits total. 2 were Khalil's, 2 were Torrellas.
I know. I read your report, and I was surprised when I read it. And I said, well, I know the third baseman had a double hits because we had made remarks about it. But I didn't realize that Crocodile George had 2.
And in fact, only 4 of the 9 Otters got on base at all.
Oh, boy.
Felix had a couple of walks. Gordon had 1 walk, and that was it.
Well, I'll tell you a lot, people out there. And
sharp hit ball to left side. Nice backhanded play by Salas. The throw across is in time. That is a wonderful play by the third baseman, William Salas.
For the people out there in baseball world and Flow Baseball listeners, this man sitting next to me, Mr. Will, is probably one of the best men I ever sat with that had more statistics about he knew when everyone was born and what the mother's maiden name was. So, I mean, You do a fantastic job, Matthew.
Well, I can say I do not know any of our players' mother's maiden names.
Well, you'll find out.
I
I'll
guess
tell you
that's
that
next
before
on
the
my
season's
list.
over, you'll know that.
Jeffrey Baez, a hard-hitting righty at the plate now. Had a grand slam a couple of nights ago, his second of the season. First pitch home, called strike. Interesting note I saw as I was recording his grand slam a couple nights ago. All 4 of the Otters' grand slams this year have come at Bosse Field.
Oh, really?
They haven't hit a single grand slam out of this place.
Oh, boy.
Baez pushes a ball to shallow right field.
Gonna...
Chasing back is the second baseman, and it falls out of his glove. Dawson had a good run on it, but it's going to be a base hit as he had a long way to go for it.
Well, difficult for the second baseman, not only this second baseman, and any second baseman or shortstop, when they're running with their back to the play, it's very difficult to line up where the ball is.
Well, and the hardest thing about that play is you don't know where your right fielder is. So that's also sitting in your mind.
Right, that's another question. The right fielder might be yelling, I got it, and you're more or less, oh, my God. We don't want to run into him, so you're yielding and your mind is elsewhere.
George Khalil at the plate now. The Australian shortstop has had himself a week.
Well, I like last night when we were down by a run or two, or score was tied, and Crocodile George came up, and you said, well, he could hit a home run, and lo and behold, if he didn't.
Throw over to first is not in time.
I wonder if he carries one of those big knives like the guy did in the Crocodile Dundee. Remember that famous man? You think that's a knife? Now here's a knife.
0-1 to Khalil. There goes Baez. The throw out is in a perfect placement. Did it get Baez? No.
And he nearly overslid that base.
Yeah, he did.
And that was a good throw from the catcher, by the way.
Very good. I think the only reason Baez is safe is because he had a late slide.
Yes.
He let his speed do the first step for him and then worked on the slide.
Instead of a Pete Rose slide.
Yeah.
Okay. I am against Pete Rose slides, in case you're interested. You can put that in your record of statistics.
An 0-2 to George Khalil. Sitting to the left side, into the glove of Salas, over to first. In time, a nice scoop from Davidson for out number 2 in the inning. But more importantly, that ground ball ends the inning if there's not a stolen base there.
It could be a double play. You're
Likely a double play.
Yeah, you're right.
Anthony Torrelas making his way to the plate now. Like I mentioned, 2 hits last night.
Well, you've raved about this guy since the day he came in, telling him what a great defensive player is, and I think he's a good offensive player as well. I remember mentioning to you, and I said he should be the regular third baseman the rest of the year.
First pitch for Torrelas. Late called strike on the high outside corner. He has started, this is the staggering thing to me about him. He started 11 games, but 4 of those 11 games he has multi-hit outings in.
Really?
He's been consistent, but he's also been extra, he's given extra output. That's, I guess, the way I wanted to say it.
Well, you say he started 11 games?
This is his 12th start tonight, yeah.
And yet he's got 3 home runs, has he not?
Yeah.
Compared to some of our players that played 40 games and now have 1 or 2 home runs or no home runs. Not that home runs matter. It's just a matter of being an offensive player.
1-1 to Torrelas, outside for ball 2. In fact, he's one of the few Otters that averages over a hit a game. And
good.
You'll take that output anytime you can get it because it means you're batting anywhere from 200 to 400.
Yep. Well, like I say, you called it. He should be the regular third baseman, and I agree with you. And let's hope if he had started this season, though, he might have been an all-star candidate.
You never know.
That's right.
A 2-1 to Torrelas. A hefty swinging strike, too. And I think I mentioned it last night. Torrelas' defense brings you to the ballpark, but his offense makes you stay.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty good. Although he showed a little weakness on that high inside pitch. He shouldn't have swung at it. That was ball 3.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and time's called by Torrelas at the plate. There's 2 outs and a runner on second. Otters are trying to use the small ball yet again to even this game up.
Well, Bias could get a big lead on second compared to where the shortstop and second baseman are. None of them are playing him.
A 3-2 hit to the left side. Craig has to make a difficult play. The throw to first in time for out number 3. The Otters cannot quite even this game up, though they did have an opportunity to. We head to the third. Schaumburg still leads 1-0. We've played through 2 full innings. Schaumburg is holding on to their 1-0 lead. Austin Gossman and the Otters defense returns to the field of play. You know, in that second inning, Gossman gave up the 1-out double, worked around it pretty nicely, picked up a strikeout, and then his defense grabbed the third out.
Well, let's put it. It was just an unfortunate pitch that was a little high and went out of the ballpark. So what? 1 run doesn't mean anything.
If you're going to give up a home run, might as well be a solo home run.
In the first inning.
Yeah.
Makes you work harder.
Otters are kind of a staggering team when they are trailing after the first inning. They're 8-4 this season. So they find a way to come back in ball games. Brett Milazzo, the 9-hole hitter. First pitch to him in this game is ball 1 on the low inside corner. I do think we have been shown here in the first couple innings that Devin Buckner is solid at keeping pitches in front of him when they come home. Hasn't had too many opportunities to have to get in front of him, but when he has, he's done a good job. Ball 2 stays high, and Milazzo's ahead in the count 2-0. Good crowd out there on the Corona patio deck this evening, looking in for the 2-0 pitch to Brett Milazzo. Cranked out towards him. Baez running back towards the warning track and brings it in 3 or 4 feet shy of it for out number 1.
Now, I'm going to ask a stupid question, if I may. Why is our flag at half-mast?
I was wondering the same thing.
Back to the top of the order, second.
I don't remember any president or celebrity or whatever dying. I don't know.
The leadoff man, Chase Dawson, is at the plate now. Long wait for the first pitch. It's on the way. Stays inside for ball 1.
It's up to our media director, Preston Lineback, to find out why the flag is at half-mast. We're only the recipients of good moves.
The 1-0 to Chase Dawson. Cranked to the right side foul. Out of play. The count evens up at 1-1. So I just threw it in Google real quick just to see what was going on. It sounds like President Biden ordered flags to be flown at half-staff after the Highland Park shooting in the Chicago area on July 4th a couple of nights ago.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. I took knowledge, which I always do every time. When they're singing the national anthem, I always look outside and see if there's anyone kneeling, sitting, having their hats on, whatever. You know, you go back to the Greek Civil War when the Athenians and the Spartans started the Olympics. They solved the political problems by having the Olympics. Politics don't belong in sports. Athletes do not belong in showing, or that's me, people who run sports have no business exploiting their political views on the athletes. A player gets paid to play sports, not to exhibit their political feelings.
2-2 count, headed home to Chase Dawson, the leadoff man for the Boomers. That one dribbles through the legs of Buckner. It's ball 3. Full count here for Chase Dawson.
I'm going to say one thing. I played a few years of baseball and in the Army and so on too. I don't remember any of my teammates being Republican or Democrat, or whether they were Christian or some other denomination. Nobody was interested. We were athletes, and that's the way it should be. Amen.
Defense set up straight up all the way around. The 3-2 to Dawson. Rides inside, ball 4. And he's going to earn himself a 1-out walk. And for the second straight inning with 1 out, the Boomers get a man on.
And that was kind of a tough call to take with a 3-2. That looked mighty close to being a strike 3.
And I think that's a player doing his homework. He saw the pitch staying inside, and he said, let me gamble with it. Everybody else is seeing a ball on the inside.
Right.
He wins this battle.
Now
Alec
we might
Craig.
see, that might be a chance to see Buckner now, what kind of an arm he's got.
Absolutely. Chase Dawson on the year, 14 of 14 in stolen base attempts.
Really? Boy.
In fact, he's just outside the top 10 in the league.
Oh, boy.
1-0 is the count to Alec Craig.
He's digging those, you see him digging
Yeah.
the cleats in.
He was ready to go that
yes,
time.
Yes.
Well, it's going to be much harder to steal today with the amount of rain this field saw.
Right.
It's way too easy for you to be there on first, sitting there with ants in your pants, ready to go.
Right.
And then as soon as you kick off, your feet sink into that mud and you're stuck. 1-0, sent out towards left center field. Gordon and Davis running towards it. It's Davis who brings it in for out number 2. And retreating back to first is Chase Dawson. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of them like that today with the rain that rolled through, a little bit extra moisture in the air. That ball sounded good off the bat, but it died once it got up there.
Well, look at the flag. It's just hanging. It's not. There's no wind whatsoever. It's just a dead. How we phrase it? You're the man.
I think you said it well. It's just dead out there.
Okay, it's dead. Dead air.
Not a lot of air moving around.
Right.
The air is thick because of all the rain. It's Mike Hart, and the ball bounces strange over the glove of Buckner back to the netting, and getting to second for free is Chase Dawson.
Now, I'm going to list that as much as I defend catchers, that is a pass ball.
Yeah, that one bounced right in
Went
or
right
in
off
front of him to the right side, and he couldn't keep it at bay.
Right. Well, one reason was he backhanded. Instead of shifting with agility to block it, he back. So many catchers do that anymore. And, of course, I watched Buckner on some of those warm-ups. Same thing, they backhand it. They scoop it like a big first baseman. Catchers, you block it.
The 1-0 to Hart. Ooh, big swing. Has him even at a 1-1 count.
Right. You know, you wonder why the catcher has a face mask, a chest protector, and shin guards. That's to protect him to block pitches. That's it. And, of course, those runaway trains that come in from third base to try to run you down.
Well, not so much anymore.
No, they want to run through the station.
One ball, one strike to Mike Hart. There's a runner on second and 2 outs.
Keep the ball low. He hit that letter high fastball last time. Ooh.
Ball bounces in and hits him in the ankle.
Well, that's a good thing. And that is a good move because it brings the runner back to second instead of being in third base with a wild pitch. So the Otters benefited by a wild pitch. Plus, you got a pretty good hitter out of the lineup for batting box.
They've got another good hitter coming up, Braxton Davidson. Though he hasn't made contact with a lot of pitches throughout this week, when he has, he's gotten himself quality base hits because when he makes contact, that ball flies.
You know, he's like charging an Eveready battery up at nighttime. They're full of energy the next morning. That's the way this guy is.
First pitch to him.
Strike.
Called strike on the outside edge. A little bit of a wait before the next pitch as Dawson took a couple extra seconds before stepping in. There's runners on first and second. 2 outs. Pitch stays high and outside for ball 1, counts evened up.
That's the pitch Mr. Davison kind of likes, is that high pitch. And he has not been successful in even making contact with it so far in the 2 games we've played. So I would keep the pitches high.
One ball, 1 strike for Braxton Davidson.
Ooh.
Oh, just missing on the inside edge is Gossman. And he's behind the count 2-1.
Now, do you think the umpire was swayed by Davison jumping out of the box, saying, "Oh, wait, it's close"? I mean, there was no need for him to be jumping. That wasn't that close to him. It was inches off the home plate.
The 2-1. Crank towards right field. Falls for a base hit. Baez gets to it. 1 run's going to score. They will not send the runner from third, respecting the defensive work from the Otters, but another run's going to score, and Schaumburg leads by 2.
I hate to say it, but that was an inside low pitch. And he got around on it pretty good, but let's be thankful Baez out there held it to a single. I mean, that was
he got
a
to
double.
it quickly.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the occurrences where this muddy field helped him because it just killed the ball when it landed.
Okay.
Regular night, that one might roll to the wall.
Okay. Well, you got a better view. I'm blocked out by the window here.
Matt Botcher takes the first pitch for ball 1 on the inside, and suddenly that 1-out walk and then the pass ball that got him to second and then the hit by pitch, all was a perfect storm for Schaumburg to grab another run. The 1-0, push to the left side, past the diving Torrelas. 1 more run's going to score on another RBI single. And suddenly the Otters are down by 3.
Now I begin to wonder. I wasn't worried about 1-0. Now I'm worrying about the 3-0.
And we will see Max Peterson make the trip out there and have a quick chat about things. Seemed like Gossman was well in control of things. Had the hit by pitch on the one that just grabbed him by the ankle. That happens. But then all of a sudden you see Braxton Davidson turn on one and get a base hit. Now Matt Botcher turn and get a base hit. And like you want for Schaumburg, those 2 biggest bats of your lineup came through when they needed to.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way, too. Matthew, the pitches that they got base hits on were good strikes. They were not bad pitches. They were over the plate, and that's what you pay those pitchers for, to throw strikes. So, unfortunately, the batter found the holes in the field that you didn't need.
Sometimes good gets beat by really good.
That's right.
Peterson talking with the home plate umpire, Ty Umthank, all the way back to the dugout.
See, now, if I was Andy, I wouldn't be too concerned right now. I'm glad Max Fountain had a little talk, but I'm not concerned.
Pull one out of the Bill McEwen book here and just say, you play 9 innings for a reason.
That's right. Exactly. Well, I like the way you quote people. Yes.
William Salas, the sole righty in the lineup, at the plate now. He's got runners on first and second and 2 outs. First pitch to him from Austin Gossman on the way. It's fouled right back into the netting. 4 strike 1.
You know, you look back. What's his record of pitches and how many strikes has he thrown out of the number of pitches he's thrown? I'm going to say about 47 pitches and 28 of strikes.
An 0-1 to Solis. Called strike, very late called strike there.
Well, again, there's Buckner that moved that ball from outside low and outside to this umpire must rely on the catcher.
That was the 45th pitch, and 29 of the 45 have been strikes.
So I was pretty close. So 29 out of 45. That's not a bad ratio for strikes.
Yeah, just under 2/3.
Yep. So what are you going to say?
The 0-2 to Solis. Bounces in. Keeping it close is Buckner.
He did a good job of blocking that with his body. You're right. You know, it seems like the pitch that hit the runner or the batter and that one and the one or two others seems to be on his breaking pitch. Now, maybe he's holding it too long before he releases, and that's why they're bouncing in front of home plate. Maybe. You don't know. I don't know. It's just a guess.
1 ball, 2 strikes for William Solis. Pitch on the way. High inside. Count evened up.
That runner on third could walk the third base. The runner on second could walk the third because Crocodile George is playing way over there to third base. Big gap up the middle.
Two on the way. Push to the right side. Down for a base hit. Long run for Baez. He brings it in. 1 run is going to score on the RBI single. Back-to-back RBI singles have Schaumburg up by 4.
All right, now, do we have someone warming up?
Not yet.
Now is the time you warm someone up. Yes.
Right
Now I'm getting concerned.
And it's all been with 2 outs for the Boomers.
Yep. And if I may say so, you could see it in a different light, but I'm going to say most of those hits have been on breaking pitches that have not had the good bite and are hanging over the plate. They're strikes, but they're hanging strikes.
Jordan Wiley at the plate now. Runners on the corners and 2 outs. First offering is a called strike on the high inside corner, and he can't believe it. And, you know, I understand the frustration. He took that pitch because he's seen a lot of guys take it for ball 1. It didn't work for him.
Well, I would have sworn it was a ball, not a strike, but a ball. So, you know, he's got justification if that's what you're saying. He's justified.
The 0-1 for him.
That's a strike.
Called strike on the outside edge.
Now, that was a strike.
And here's the thing about now Gossman. Of the 3 batters who have hit RBI singles,
He's been
2
ahead.
of the 3 have had 0-2 counts.
I was going to say, he's been ahead. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of wasting pitches, I shouldn't say waste, that's the wrong word. Instead of throwing pitches that are not strikes out of the zone, hopefully they'll go for.
Reaching and sending it right down the line was Wiley, but it did roll just foul before Buckner could get to it.
When a pitcher has an 0-2 count, he can afford to throw that curveball low and inside to the batter or a high pitch. They're not strikes, but they're close enough that you're throwing the bait out and you hope the fisherman goes after it. Or you hope the fish goes after the bait. I don't know. I'm not a fisherman. Are you?
Wiley looking at an 0-2 count, just like a couple of his predecessors. There's runners on first and third with 2 outs. Schaumburg leads 4-0. Pitch coming home, stays high and outside. Looked like the breaking pitch just didn't break.
Yeah. See, now if I was Buckner, I'd set up low inside, break that curveball off at his ankles. Inside curveball, make him swing the Arnie Palmer golf swing.
The 1-2 to Wiley.
Right there. There you are.
Sent sharply foul to the right side.
And he went for that bait. He went for that bait. I'd come right back at that pitch. The only thing is, it was a fastball, not a curve.
Gossman takes a second to clean off the cleats on the spikes back there. Now he steps back up, looking at a 1-2 count to Jordan Wiley. Runners on the corners.
Looks like he's still in.
Pitch on the way. Zoomed out towards right field. Baez glides back, brings it in for out number 3. But back-to-back-to-back RBI singles with 2 outs have given the Boomers a 4-0 lead. We head to the bottom half of the third. Otters have some work to do. To the bottom of the third we go. Otters have a lot of room to make up now after giving up a couple of extra runs. You know, I'll say this much. There's not a lot of ways to beat the Otters this year. They have a good enough team that if you're going to beat the Otters, you have to do things the right way. And one of the right things to do is linking hits together back to back to back.
Yeah.
That's what the Schaumburg Boomers were able to do, and they put up a 3 spot on the scoreboard, and you know that it does wonders for them.
Well, I'm going to say I'm not going to have anything bad to say about Grossman. He threw strikes and they just hit the ball. That is his job. That's why there's 8 other guys on the field.
Well, if you want to know why Schaumburg has failed to get wins in this 3-game set so far, other than that one inning that they came way back when Samson Abernathy was pitching on the very first day of the series, they have failed to get multiple runs in an inning in every other inning of this series thus far. Everything they're putting up is 1 spots here or there. When they finally get a crooked number, it really does things for them.
Yeah.
They're going to face the 8-9-1 hitters, Devin Buckner, Andy Armstrong, and Miles Gordon. Buckner taking his very first professional at-bat right now.
And he's revealing something he shouldn't be showing right now. Look at the seat of his pants. They're covered in mud, meaning that when he's catching, he's sitting on his gluteus muscles. How about that?
Count evens at 1-1 after the ball bounces in.
That goes back to Anatomy and Physiology in 1951.
The 1-1 pushed out towards center field. Running in is Milazzo. He parks underneath it for out number 1. That'll bring up the second baseman, Andy Armstrong, who is the Otters' hottest hitter. In the last 10 games, he's batting .321, 4 RBIs on 9 hits, a couple of doubles, a home run. He has done a lot of things the right way recently.
Yeah. Good hands, good range, good feet. You know, if he was...
First pitch he sees, it's lined towards Dawson at second. He'll make an easy play for out number 2.
Just imagine if Andy was a regular second baseman or shortstop from the beginning of the season till now, he definitely would be an all-star candidate or a nominee.
Well, and Armstrong started with this squad, and at the beginning of the year was a guy that was getting a lot of starts, but then he did have some struggles with consistency at the plate, and that's why Gary Mattis got the starting job. Of course, when Gary Mattis had his contract bought out by Arizona, I want to bring that up a little bit later, it opened the door for Armstrong. And I tell you what, he has taken that opportunity and ran with it.
Yes, but I'm going back to old-time baseball, and that is the center fielder, shortstop, second baseman, catcher. You sacrifice an offensive bat for a defensive glove.
Back-to-back called strikes for Gordon, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game. That one a really inside pitch, one he didn't think was going to get called, and now he's going to have to fight from behind.
Now you go back, you look at baseball, whether it's the high school. I'm not going to say high school because generally the high school shortstop is the leading pitcher. He's the quarterback of the football team, and he's the guard on the basketball team. But in minor league baseball, most of the time, and there's a pop fly, that's going to be foul.
Sent towards foul left field. The sliding play. What a grab by Hart.
Did he make a catch?
Went sliding into the opposing bullpen over there and brought it in for out number 3. And again, the Otters have a 3-up, 3-down inning. We head to the 4th. Schaumburg leading this one by 4. And we're ready for the top half of the 4th inning here from historic Bosse Field. Schaumburg out to a 4-0 advantage after taking advantage of back-to-back-to-back hits in the 3rd. It's what you do to win baseball games, and they're doing it right now.
As you say, it's a little league baseball. You know, let me go back to Mr. Armstrong just for one more second, and that is you go back to high school and college. Most shortstops and second basemen are in the 7th or 8th batting spot on your team, meaning that they're not good hitters in high school as well as college.
The catcher, Nick Odo, the first batter up here in the half inning, a half swing on a pitch that I think he started swinging at and then just couldn't catch up with his bat.
Well, he realized it was a ball. And like you said, once the swing started, he couldn't hold up. I mean, that was ball 1 instead of strike 1.
Defense is playing him straight up. The 0-1 pitch is on the way to him. Hefty swinging strike 2, and that was a textbook Gossman saying, if you swing at it once, you'll swing at it twice, and gave it to him again. Low and
exactly,
inside.
same spot. You're right. Good observation there, Mr. Will.
No outs, no one on. The 0-2 to Nick Odo. And the former Screaming Eagle ready on the 0-2. This one's lifted high and fairly shallow to left field. Khalil drops back, but Davis calls everyone off. Brings it in for out number 1. That'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, center fielder Brett Milazzo. He led off the last inning with a flyout, but a walk and a flyout later is when the floodgates opened for this Schaumburg team, and they started to score some runs.
Yeah, the Otters didn't have a player that could put his finger in the dike to stop that leak.
Gossman ready on the first pitch to Brett Milazzo. It's on the way now.
Strike.
Called strike on the low outside corner. One thing I think we can all agree on now is that Ty Unthank is really taking his time to call the strikes tonight. He gives it a good half second, full second before he turns and calls anything.
Yeah, but he's listening for us. We're calling the pitch, and then he answers.
An 0-1 is a swinging strike, too. He didn't have to wait for us on that one.
No, and Grossman should come back with the identical pitch, low inside ankle.
Well, and that's a lefty's kryptonite.
If it's a ball, it's a ball. But see if he goes after it.
The 0-2 to Brett Milazzo. Gossman again goes low inside, bounces that one in, almost hit him.
Right. Now notice where this batter is in relation to home plate. When he is he's in a hitting stance, his hands, his arms are overlapping home plate, which means pitch him inside. See right now, look how close he is. Where is his hands and where's his arms?
I mean, his elbows are over the plate.
They're over the plate. Pitch him inside.
The 1-2. It stays high for ball 2, and the count evens up.
Anytime you can get a batter to lock his elbows into his side, you automatically took away his power.
Defense is playing straight up all the way around, except there is a huge hole up the middle. 2-2 is the count to Brett Milazzo.
Strike 3.
Called strike 3 on the outside edge. And that's good for the German American Bank strikeout number 3 on the day for Austin Gossman.
Hey, you were right. Umpire was a little slow after we told him about strike 3.
It'll bring up the leadoff hitter for Schaumburg, the second baseman Chase Dawson. He walked his last time up with 1 out, reached second on a pass ball, came around to score on an RBI single from Braxton Davidson. Right now, his run is one of the ones that's helping with an insurance. First pitch to Dawson. Inside ball 1. Well, I really hope once Schaumburg heads back home this weekend that Dawson gets his couple triples and breaks the Frontier League record. But I'd prefer he doesn't do it in the game against Evansville tonight or against the 3 against Evansville next week.
I do too. I hope he never gets it, to be honest with you.
1 ball, 1 strike for Chase Dawson. Took a called strike there that curved in. The 1-1. Hefty swinging strike 2 on the inside pitch. Tell you what, though, one thing's for certain. It's going to be hard to hit a triple this evening because usually to get a triple, it's got to be to right field, and one of the strongest arms in the Frontier League is manning right field tonight for the Otters, Jeffrey Baez.
Well, that plus there's another factor, and that is the grass out there is wet. So therefore, the ball is not going to fly or carry as far with the wet grass. It's going to slow it down, which means you're giving the outfielder a better chance to get the ball.
But we've been wrong before, so I wouldn't be surprised if he stepped up and hit a triple right after we said all that.
I don't think I was ever wrong. My wife says I'm wrong all the time.
Gossman taking his time before the 2-2 pitch to Chase Dawson. That one's hit high and maybe foul to the left side. Khalil's making the main run. So is Davis, and it's Davis who bobbles it in and out of his glove.
And thank God it was about a foot on the foul territory. Other than that, that could have been a double.
Yeah, and as Davis was over there, right as he got the ball, I saw one of his feet shift a little. So he must have hit that mud over there. And I think he had the play until he lost his footing for a second, and that's when the squeeze on the glove got let go, I guess.
You know, I'm from the old school. And I had some of minor leaguers and college players help me develop into a ball player back in the 40s and the 50s. We were always told you catch the ball with two hands. Today, everything is one hand. Mostly the outfielders, they let the ball go in the glove, and all it has to do is pop up.
The 2-2. Zoom towards right field. Baez is running back towards it. It's going to bounce into the wall. Baez picks it up. Dawson was going for 3, and then he got the stop sign. And rightfully so. Armstrong had just grabbed the ball. He would have been out by a mile.
I agree with you on that.
But it is a stand-up double with 2 outs for Chase Dawson.
And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. There's 8 left-hand hitters in that lineup, and they are all pulling that ball, and they're all pulling the curveball. That's the main thing. If you're going to throw that curveball, keep it low. Of course, that's easy for you and me to say.
Alec Craig at the plate now with 2 outs and a runner on second. This is where Gossman got hurt his last time. Runners on with 2 outs. A pitch inside is ball 1. It's really sad that Schaumburg and Evansville will conclude their season series next week. These have been fun games to call. These two teams are very closely matched.
Oh, I'll say. And now that was a pretty good stop by Buckner.
Yeah, he had to move a long way to keep that in front of him.
It's called agility, and the catcher needs that. For lateral movements, they need agility.
But it is ball 2.
Right.
You almost have to have the agility of those hockey goalkeepers.
Yes, that's a good description. Or how about a soccer goalie?
Yeah. They've got to move further than anyone.
Yes.
2 balls, no strikes for Alex Craig. Gossman desperately looking for out number 3 here. Ball's lifted high and foul and out of play to the left side for strike 1 in the count.
I had a granddaughter that made the all-regional Northeast Regional lacrosse team. I tell you what, she was pretty good with that lacrosse stick and getting a lot of scores. And that's kind of tough when someone's right in your face and they slap that stick at you.
I was going to say, that's a violent sport.
That's an Indian sport.
Yeah.
It goes back to the Indian days. Strike.
2-1 falls
strike.
in for a called strike 2, and the count's evened up yet again.
Yeah. My granddaughter's father, and when she started, I said, "Oh, that's an Indian sport." He said, "No, it isn't." He looked it up. He said, "I'm sorry, you're right." I said, "Yeah, they used to play with the skulls of the human beings."
The 2-2 stays just a bit high
what was
for
wrong
ball
with that?
3. And Craig has been given 1 additional pitch.
Now that happened the other day when we gave the batter the difference, and he ended up hitting a home run.
Craig calls time to readjust his batting gloves. Now he steps back in and is ready to go.
We had a catcher back here in 206 and 207. Tommy Panino, great catcher. Not a good hitter, but a great defensive catcher. And he wore batting gloves. Every pitch he stepped out and readjusted those gloves. Every pitch.
The 3-2 to Craig. Called strike 3 on the high outside corner. And that one will end the half inning. A gift to Austin Gossman and the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the 4th. Otters have some room to make up. Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. Thirsty Thursday here from historic Bosse Field. Otters need some big hits, and more importantly, probably, they need to link one or two or three of them together and take one out of the page of Schaumburg.
I'll agree with you. Play some Little League Baseball.
0-1 pitch to Zach Bierman, who's leading off the inning. Chops one foul to the right side. Bierman is 0 for 1 so far in the game, and you know what? Bierman has had himself a rough couple of weeks. Here in just the last 10 games, he has struggled to find consistency at the plate.
Well, let me say he got hit.
Takes a pitch inside. He's going to head to first for free.
He got hit, but it ricocheted off on the catcher. The catcher is hobbling. Bierman goes walking down the first. He was the one originally hit, but the catcher got the ricochet. He's the one that's hurt most. Anyway, as a former catcher, you should be used to getting hurt. Be an Oriole, as Mr. Bussing would say. Be an Oriole. Rub it off.
Yeah, Bierman in his last 10 games, batting under 160. He needs a game that really blows his season back open.
Well, I'll tell you what, the games I've seen, he's hitting the ball solidly. It's just not going to in between the fielders like they used to.
First pitch for J.R. Davis. On the way.
You know,
Called strike.
That's like the batter that hits the ball 450 feet, but it's 451 feet to center field, and it's a fly ball out. So you say, well, he's 0 for 1, yeah, but if he hit it to left center or right center, it would have been a home run, too.
0-1 for Davis.
Oh.
Chasing after it was Davis for a swinging strike, too. And
anytime you've got to reach for a low outside pitch, you can't hit it. If your bat's not long enough, you got to bend over and reach as far as you can. Don't swing.
no balls, 2 strikes. Pitch on the way. It bounces in for ball 1.
That catcher did a pretty good job of blocking. Odo just saved the runner from advancing to second.
Absolutely, he did. This is the first time all night the Otters have had their leadoff man on. In fact, Zach Bierman's only the second base runner all game for the Otters.
Yeah. Who was Baez was the only one on base so far.
Yes.
Davis trying to make it 2. We're going to go check on Bierman. He's back in time. That's a really quick turn and throw from Arjona.
Well, especially when you're not even looking there. Now, whether the third baseman gave him the sign or what, but he was looking over there at third base when he whipped and throw. So he must have been getting a sign when to throw.
The 1-2 to J.R. Davis. He extends the hands and strikes out on a pitch low and outside. And Davis falls to 0-2 on the day.
Yeah, that's the same pitch he swung and missed at 2 pitches earlier.
It's the first strikeout of the game for Kyle Arjona. That'll bring up the DH Steven Sinsley, who grounded out to the third baseman his first time up. But remember, it was a nice play from the third baseman Solis to backhand the ball.
It was
towards him.
It was a hard hit ball that could have been a double down the left field line.
Absolutely.
He really smashed it, but the third baseman made an outstanding play. You're right.
First pitch to Sinsley. Big curveball that falls in for a called strike.
Yeah. That just floated over the plate.
I thought sure thing that was going to stay high, and it just yanked in at the last second.
Yeah. It was like the Titanic. It sank.
I guess so. Before the 0-1, Arjona's going to step off and go scrape off his cleats, and now Sinsley is arguing about something. I think the home plate umpire was trying to move him back, saying that he was over the batter's box or in a wrong place, and now Sinsley's fighting it. Andy McCauley has made the run down, and they're having a conversation back there.
I think it's a matter of the batter's box, which has been erased, and Shinley might have been too close over it, in it, and the umpire is saying you've got to back up. Well, if there's no evidence there, how can you judge that he's overstriding?
From where they were pointing, I think they were saying that Sinsley was too far back towards the catcher.
Oh, is that what it
but
was?
he can't really see that back line, and that's what McCauley was trying to say. He drew a line with his foot from the other back batter's box and said, I think this is where he was, and all that excitement, nothing comes of it, and Sinsley will step back in.
Well, let's use our own judgment. I don't think he's too far back.
It looks right even with the other batter's box.
Right.
An 0-1 towards Steven Sinsley. Called strike on the outside edge.
I'm going to say that was a retaliatory call. I think Sinsley questioned, and that umpire just got back because that looked like high and outside.
Now Sinsley really hugging the plate. His toe almost on it.
Right now he's out of the batter's box. I'll grant you this.
The 0-2.
Strike 3.
Called strike 3.
Yep.
And Sinsley turns around and is arguing with the home plate umpire, Ty Unthink. And now Andy McCauley is going to come running down trying to save his DH from getting tossed here. And Bobby Siegel was about to do the same thing out of the dugout.
I think Sinsley has an argument, to be honest with you. I think Sinsley got a bad break being at the plate this turn.
Now, I want to say this much. Incredible props goes to the coaching of Andy McCauley and Bobby Siegel, making sure that if anyone's going to get in trouble, it's them two and not their DH, Steven Sinsley. They did a good job of getting Sinsley out of that altercation as quickly as they could.
Yes, good call, good call.
Well, it's back-to-back strikeouts. J.R. Davis and Sinsley both go down with Ks, and Jeffrey Baez steps in with 2 outs and a runner on first. First swing is a hefty pitch that he was just a bit in front of.
Well, you know, as a former player, you can talk to the umpire as long as you want, as long as you don't use profanity. And the other thing is, never embarrass the umpire. That guarantees you of being out of the game.
A late called strike to Baez results in a couple of dissatisfied fans here at Bossy Field, and now it's quickly an 0-2 count for Baez. The 0-2. Outside, ball 1.
Baez has got to pull that trigger. Too many times he watches that off-speed curveball just go softly across home plate.
Well, rightfully so. He's so worried about that pitch that is going to trail away from him low and outside, and he doesn't want to get called or caught chasing it.
Right.
So it's one of those mental games. Makes it tough in the box. 1-2 for Baez. Cranks one towards left field. Chasing back is
Looks
Milazzo
like it's
towards
out of
the
here.
wall.
It's out of
Looking
here.
up. Gone.
It's out of here.
That is a huge swing of the bat for Jeffrey Baez. A 2-run home run has brought the Otters within 2.
Yep. Again, Matthew, I can't see the ball, but I can see the outfielders, and that's the way I judge where the ball is. When I was watching that left fielder kind of just drifting back, he already conceded it was out of the ballpark.
Jeffrey Baez hits his 3rd home run in the last 7 games.
But now we're back in the ball game.
And the Otters are right back in there.
Yeah.
That's a huge one. And I'll tell you what, it felt like as Baez headed to the plate, it was going to be a 3-pitch at-bat. With the way those last 2 went, especially the way that Sinsley's at-bat ended, it felt like there was enough tension that this was going to be one of those strike, 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 you guys are done.
Yeah.
So it's very good to see him turn on one well, get a home run there. George Khalil sees a high inside pitch called strike, and yet again we hear some dissatisfaction here in the ballpark. Defense playing straight up for Mr. Khalil. The 0-1 headed his way. He pushes one foul to the right side.
Well, again, you have a pitcher out there, and all you ask of him is to throw strikes. You have a shortstop out there, you ask, field everything, throw it to first, get the runner out. You got an umpire out there, all you're saying is, hey, be fair to both teams. That's it.
The 0-2 to George Khalil. Called strike 3 on the outside edge.
Now, there was a pitch that was way outside. The catcher moved it over, and he called it. That is a terrible, terrible call.
Khalil wasn't happy, and Andy McCauley is going to go have his words heard as well. A really tough half inning that was saved by a Jeffrey Baez 2-run home run. We head to the 5th inning. Otters only down by 2 now. To the top of the 5th inning we go, and I want to bounce back to a conversation you and I had earlier. We were talking about the potential of robot umps being added to the MLB in a few years. This is one of the scenarios in which you don't want the robot umps in the game. This is a human making play or making calls behind the plate. They mess up sometimes. That's a hard emotional inning for the Otters, but it's baseball. Every team in baseball history has experienced an inning like that.
Well, I agree with you at the same time, but that umpire, I think, was very, very prejudiced against the Otters.
Well, and then this half inning starts off with that pitch outside. Gossman does not get a called strike, and the Otters are shouting from their dugout.
Well, we ended the inning with the called third strike that nearly was in the dirt, at least 5 feet away from home plate. The umpire called strike 3. I mean, the Otters got the short end of the stick by this umpire in that last inning. Thank God Baez got the home run.
They definitely brought the emotional spirits back. A 2-0 called strike, and the cheers rain down from Bosse Field.
An umpire doesn't get paid to decide who wins or loses. His job is to call a fair game for both teams. Be consistent.
A 2-1 coming home for Mike Hart. It bounces in. Looked like it might have hit him, but it did not. I think it just hit off of the catcher Devin Buckner just right.
Right.
And it's a 3-1 count.
And again, it was one of Grossman's breaking pitches. It seems that he might be holding that ball just a little too long at times.
Kind of feels like one of those scenarios where because everything's damp out there, he's trying to hold on a little tighter to make sure he doesn't lose grip, and because of it, he's holding it on too long. A 3-1.
Now that's a
falls in for a called strike.
I was waiting for him to say ball 4. I mean, you and I called a strike. Thank God he followed and listened to us.
Well, there's certainly a lot of tension right now between the Otters bench and this home plate umpire now.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, right now there is a lot of tension. So.
And somebody might be going home early.
The 3-2.
Now that's ball 4.
Called strike 3. Very late called strike. And I tell you what, Mike Hart cannot believe it.
And what did I say? Ball 4. I called it ball 4. My God, is this guy...
Mike Hart gives his closing statements before he heads back to his dugout. It's a called strike 3, the 5th German-American Bank strikeout of the day for Gossman. Here's a crazy one for you. Of the 5 strikeouts Gossman has, 4 of the 5 are called.
Called strikes, yeah.
And 3 of those 4 are on the inside, where not a lot of people are getting called strikes.
Right. Well, let's put it this way: the Otters got a break on that call. Maybe he's evening up. That's what they say. Umpire, eventually they
Making
even up.
or whatever, yeah. Braxton Davidson at the plate now. His last time up, an RBI single.
Now that's a strike. There you go.
A called strike starts off the half or the count for Braxton Davidson. Davidson has had himself a series thus far, picking up a lot of quality base hits. The 0-1 for him. Big swing.
That's going to
Going towards center field, drops for a base hit in front of Miles Gordon. It's a one-out single.
That's going to fall in, I'll say that.
Well, he swings the bat really hard, and you just know if he makes contact, it's going to be a quality at-bat.
Right. That was a power swing.
Number 3, Matt Boxer.
So now I'll bring in the DH, Matt Botcher, the Frontier League's top batting average. Got his first base hit of the entire series his last time up with an RBI single.
Yeah, the Otters have held him in tightness. Let's hope he hits a ground ball for a double play.
Certainly what the Otters would hope for. The first pitch to Botcher. Sent foul back towards the netting on the left side for strike one.
Yeah, that was a nice swing, too, on his part.
Don't forget the Otters stay in town this weekend with 3 games against the Florence Yalls. First time the Yalls are coming to town this year. Tomorrow night, Habitat for Humanity and Eyewitness News, WEHT, WTUV, all come to the ballpark for giveaways and raffles tomorrow night. 6:35 first pitch. Would love to see you out here. The 0-1 to Botcher. Sent towards Khalil. To second for 1. To first. In time.
Again, you called that play there, Master.
A 6-4-3 double play has ended the top of the 5th. And we head to the bottom half. Otters still trail by a pair. We'll try to see what they can get going in the bottom half of the 5th. We're halfway through this ball game. Pleased you're joining us here from Bosse Field. Well, we head to the bottom half of the 5th, and I'll tell you what, this is one of the, I don't know the right wording for it. This is one of the highest points in the season of tension I think I've felt from the Otters all season long. They had a couple of calls not go their way. Then they had one that seemed blatant. And when you have that happen to you, it affects the mentality. Jeffrey Baez has saved this team's mentality at least a little bit with that home run last inning. And then for Gossman to come out and grab 3 outs, I think the Otters can breathe a little easier now.
I'll agree with you, and I think we got a break from the umpire on one of those calls against Mr. Hart that was low and outside, and he was shocked himself. So anyway, as they used to say, baseball, that is that going to drop
First
in?
First pitch for Torales is out towards left, and it'll be brought in by the left fielder Hart.
But we would call it the umpires evening up, giving the other team a break that he'd given several breaks to one team. Now he's evening it up by giving the other team a break.
Yeah, I think the one that I've heard the most that people use is a makeup call.
All right, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He realizes he's wrong, and it's like the judge saying, discount that that witness is saying.
Devin Buckner with a big swinging strike one to kick off his count. Buckner flew out to center his first time up. The 0-1 headed his way. Push to the right side.
Base hit.
Down for a base hit.
A base hit.
The first of his professional career. And a big tip of the cap. They're asking for the ball there in the Otters dugout. Big congratulations to Devin Buckner, the first of many, we hope.
It was a glancing pitch that he hit on a late swing and got a line drive to right field. Whether it was a good swing, a bad swing, or whatever, it's a base hit.
Well, we talk a lot about how this league prides itself on moving guys to the next level and saying that, they got their start here. This is a start. Devin Buckner gets the call earlier this week and gets himself a chance to prove himself. It all starts with one base hit. Excited to see what he does in the future.
Now that umpire just called that a strike.
Andy Armstrong was showing bunt, pulled away, and then got a called strike, turned around, wasn't very happy with it.
Well, because it nearly hit the dirt. I don't know. I tell you what. Sears and Roebuck's closed up down here in Green River Road, but they still must be issuing umpire licenses.
The 0-1 to Armstrong. Stays low for ball one. Count evens up.
And that looked like the same pitch.
I said I wanted to bring it up earlier, and I will bring it back up now. Gary Mattis, he got the call to high A yesterday.
Oh, really? He got promoted?
They're within the Diamondbacks organization. He's headed to the Hillsboro Hops, the high A affiliate of Arizona. A big congratulations to him.
Yes,
He skipped low A altogether, went from the rookie league straight to high A.
Right.
The 1-1 to Armstrong, pushed up the middle, played by Craig. He'll go to second for one. The throw to first, bounces in, and it's out of the glove of Davidson. And Armstrong will reach on the fielder's choice.
So what league is Hillsboro in?
I have to check exactly. I know that they play out of the Portland, Oregon area, but I'm not exactly sure which league.
That would be for northwest.
I think it's the Northwest, yeah. Miles Gordon is at the plate now. The Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, 0 for 2 with a flyout and a foul out. The foul out was a wonderful play down there in the the bullpen of the left field area.
Oh, I'll say that was a beautiful catch.
In fact, I would go as far as saying you might see it on the Frontier League top 10 plays of the week next week. First pitch by Gordon. Sent into right field for a base hit. There goes Armstrong towards third, and there's runners on the corners with 2 outs.
Yep.
Quick legs of Andy Armstrong to get himself all the way around.
Okay, now if there's anyone we would like to have at bat to tie this game or put us ahead would be Mr. Zach Bierman.
And I tell you what, he's due.
And you've been saying that. Let's hope
he's been due for 8-10 games. He did grab a game-tying home run there at Gateway, but he never really got to use that momentum and move it forward. So this would be a great time to grab some momentum and move it into the weekend set with Florence.
Well, I'd love to see a home run, but I will settle with a base hit. First
pitch to Bierman. A swing that gets between the legs of Odo and back to the netting.
Right, but a base hit would give us a 4-3 game. The runner on first hopefully would be on third and set up another possible one.
Just bring one in.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do.
One.
The 0-1 to Zach Bierman. Finally on the way. Stays low and a bit outside. Count evens up at 1-1.
Andy's giving signs down there, but I don't think we're going to be stealing and put ourselves out of this inning. At least I don't think so.
1-1 the count to Bierman. The ball stays outside. There's a lot of catchers I could see sending the runner to second to try to get into his mind about what if I overthrow and the runner scores, so maybe I just won't throw to second at all. But Nick Odo's played in this league for a long time. Obviously, he's the all-time games played leader for Schaumburg for a reason. He's played over 300 games. He knows what he's doing at the plate. It just wouldn't be smart to try to nab one off of him.
Yeah.
Now here on a 2-2 or a 3-2, I could see it being a lot more possible than on the 1-0.
Well, I don't want to take a chance. It could be ball 3 and the runner thrown out at second base,
Absolutely.
and there you're out of the inning. So I don't want to take a chance. I'm just going to let Bierman have his own.
The 2-2. Swinging strike 3 on an inside pitch. And that takes us to the 6th inning. Otters still trail by 2 here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We are ready to go at the top of the 6th inning. They've just finished dragging the infield. And Austin Gossman ready to throw home to William Salas. First pitch is a called strike 1 on the outside edge.
Yeah, take that 1 inning away, that 3rd inning when they got the 3 runs, and Grossman has thrown an outstanding game.
Absolutely. And even in that inning, he threw a good inning, just was trying to work things into the zone and accidentally left a couple things too high. Has a couple of nice called strikes here to start off this inning.
Yes, he's been throwing strikes the whole game, and that has been his downfall. Those strikes turned out to be hits.
You live by the strike, you die by the strike.
Exactly.
The 0-2. Sent to the left side. Khalil gets there. The hard throw. Is it in time? It is!
Yes!
What a play!
Give credit to 2 guys. Not only the great shortstop play, but the first baseman Bierman with that scoop.
I tell you what, that was a long way to run for Khalil, and it looked like for a minute he was just going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
But he kind of had that thought of, maybe I've got a chance for it. It wasn't a super strong throw because he was off balance, but Bierman helped him out. That's one of the best outs you'll see in some time.
That is a major league play. I don't care. That should be in the top 10 of the Frontier League book.
Jordan Wiley, the right fielder, at the plate now. 0 for 2 so far with a strikeout and a flyout. Big swing. He was sitting fastball, but waited and waited and waited for that off speed to get there. And by the time he did, it fouled off his foot.
Grossman's out there probably looking up at the sky and saying, Lord, thank God we've got a good shortstop and a first baseman.
I tell you what, I think the entire Otters pitching staff thanks their defense just about every day.
Yep.
An 0-1, fired home towards Jordan Wiley.
Ooh.
Swinging strike 2 was fooled on an outside pitch.
He was about two blocks late for that bus.
Long wait before the next offering. So now Gossman readies himself on the bump. Fires home on the 0-2. Push to the right side. Picked up by Armstrong. Over to first in time. Armstrong had a little bit of a bobble there, but he made sure he had the ball in his glove before stepping up to throw. That resulted in out number 2. Mentioned that the Y'alls are going to be in town all weekend for a 3-game set. We don't know for sure what the pitching matchups would be, but if they are able to follow in the same rotation they're on, it would likely be Watland Adcock and O'Reilly. We should know for sure by tomorrow morning what the rotation should look like for the Otters.
Well, I would hope so by tomorrow, because the game's tomorrow night.
Yeah. First pitch is a hefty swinging strike one by Nick Odo. Defense is played straight up all the way around for Nick Odo, the catcher. The 0-1 in there, called strike 2. It seems like everything's a strike now.
Yeah, yeah.
You alluded to Gossman hitting a lot of strikes. He's thrown 90 pitches and 61 are strikes. So he's sitting right there on the 2/3. You'll take that any day.
Listen, that's what his job is, to throw strikes, and he's doing it. He's doing a masterful job.
The 0-2 bounces in. That's a good stop from Buckner. Even with nobody on, he kept it in front of him in a place where he could go make a play. You know, it's good to see even when there's nobody on, he's committed to trying to keep balls in front of him. Why not?
Well, you should, because you get in the habit if, it's a ball, therefore it don't count. You get a little lazy when it's really important in a game, and you forget whether it's a fair ball, foul ball, or whatever. Always go. Let the umpire decide.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Nick Odo. Pitch on the way. Way outside. He chased it high and up, and it sent foul to the left side. Corrales made a run towards it and then realized it was out.
When I was in uniform, I used to always tell my players, you run after everything and make the catch. Let the umpire decide whether it's a fair ball, foul ball, or an out, or just out of play, whatever the case. Let the umpire decide.
The 1-2 to Odo.
Hit
Way
him.
inside.
Did it hit him?
Looked like it was close, but it didn't end up hitting him.
Okay.
Tell you what, you've got to feel just a little bit for Ben Garnett. He's going to have a rough job tonight. With the mud today, these jerseys are filthy. The white pants have really met the mud.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd like the white and white. I'm not a blue and white man. I like the Dodger uniform.
The 2-2 sitting down the right field line, but just a hair foul.
Again, I'm a traditionalist. 30, 40, 50 years ago, we didn't have different colored uniforms. White was for home, gray was for away. And that's the way the game. And then Charlie Finley comes, and he changes baseball with yellow shoes and all kinds of things. Remember, everybody wore white shoes with the Oakland Athletics. That was unusual. Now you look out there today, everyone's got white shoes.
The 2-2 does hit him.
That one hit him.
And with 2 outs, Nick Odo is going to make his way to first.
And that was the breaking pitch. I'm going to say, you can give me your opinion, but I'm going to say Grossman's breaking pitch has not been that effective today.
Yeah, there's been a couple of half innings where his curveball looks fantastic, especially when he's facing the lefties. But there have been the occasional batters where it just seems like he doesn't have the control, whether that's he's hanging on to it too long or.
Right. Now, if they were right-hand batters, well, they've been balls. But their left-hand batters, the chance of getting hit, which they have, is greater.
Runner on first with 2 outs. Gossman just trying to get himself out of this 6th. Pitch on the way. Right towards Bierman. What a grab.
That's why he should play first base all the time.
Pulled it out of the air, said, no thank you. Steps on first for the 3rd out of the half inning. We head to the bottom half of the 6th. Otters still trail by a pair. We are on our way to the bottom of the 6th inning. This game has started to find a little bit of pace after home plate umpire Ty Unthank has started to call a lot more strikes, it feels like, in that last full inning. But
he did his damage earlier.
But regardless, the Otters are going to look to get things started in the middle of the lineup. J.R. Davis, Steven Sinsley, and Jeffrey Baez due up. Tough last inning for the Otters. They left a runner stranded on third. A called strike one starts off the count for J.R. Davis.
Yeah, when you get runners at third base and you can't bring them home, that's tough.
The 0-1, way outside, count evens up. A lot of analysts at the higher levels, MLB, maybe high affiliated ball, will say that separates a good team from a great team. Which teams can bring home their guys from third? It's a big indication of what kind of bats you have.
Well, in my day, they call that money ball players. He's the guy that brings home that runner on third is a money player. That means when the pressure is there, they just execute. They don't
just another at bat.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't get nervous. They don't lose their concentration. They're cool.
1-2 count for Davis. Called strike three. Davis upset a little bit with himself and a little bit at the home plate umpire Ty Unthank, and he'll take his time walking out of the home plate circle.
Well, I didn't think it was a strike. I'm being honest, and I'm agreeing with the batter, Jr.
It's Davis's second strikeout of the game, his first looking, and it's 5 for Kyle Arjona.
You know, they say if it's good enough to be called a strike, it's good enough to swing at. Yeah, but that didn't look good enough to swing at, to be honest. I agree with JR.
Steven Sinsley calls time as he steps in and says, am I good? Am I good? Am I good? Finally gets himself in the right place in the box. And the first pitch he sees, he sends straight at Dawson at second for out number 2. But he took extra time asking the home plate umpire, am I okay here? Am I okay here?
Well, the last time he was at plate, there was a question about where he was standing in the batter's box. That is when I might have said, okay, we'll show you what's doing. Bring out the ground crew and let's put the new batter's box in existence.
Jeffrey Baez at the plate now. 2 for 2 with a single and a 2-run home run so far in the game. First pitch to him is a called strike at the knees.
Between 4 years of high school and many, many years of playing semi-pro baseball, there were games, I'm going to say hundreds, maybe thousands of games. There was no batter's box. There was no catcher's box. We were lucky to have a field to play on. So to be technical about you're in the batter's box, you're out of the batter's box, used to be that there was no such thing as a catcher's box. Then all of a sudden, someone created a rule that if you're out of the catcher's box, it was a ball automatically or something.
0-2 is fouled high to the right side. Davidson's underneath it, brings it in for out number 3. And just like that, we're through 6 full innings. We head to the back third of this game right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We head to the top of the 7th, the back third of this one, and a new pitcher needed for the Otters. Jacob Bowles will head in out of the bullpen. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Bowles last appeared in the final game of that Gateway Series. He pitched just 2/3 of an inning, but in that piece that he did, gave up no runs on no hits. Worked around things nicely. In game 2 of that Gateway Series, he went 2 full innings, giving up no runs on no hits with a couple of strikeouts. A very consistent arm up on the mound right now. It's Bowles on the mound, Buckner behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000.
Your Evansville Otters.
Well, Jacob Bowles is going to be a guy that can give you some consistency up there. And that's what the Otters need here in these last couple of innings to give their offense an opportunity.
Yeah, we need someone to hold what they've got, and that's it. And wait for the 7th Cavalry to come up over the hill.
First pitch to Chase Dawson, the leadoff man for Schaumburg.
Strike.
It's a called strike, late called strike. Chase Dawson is 1 for 2 on the day, a hard hit double and a walk thus far. The 0-1 on the way. Lifted high and mid-deep to left. Davis is underneath it for out number 1. Final line for Austin Gossman this evening. He gives up 4 runs on 7 hits in 6 full innings. He's walked just 1, struck out 5.
They were all earned runs?
All 4 were earned.
Okay. I don't remember any errors. That's why I'm...
Yeah, haven't been any errors yet in the game. Pitch works a little inside for ball 1. Buckner does good to keep it in front of him. I see Augie Gallardo starting to stretch with the bands out there in right. This could be just a 1-inning appearance for Bowles. A 1-0 inside for ball 2. In these close games, they do like to throw Gallardo in the 8th, Sawyer in the 9th, so at least right now it would make sense. Bowles waiting on the 2-0. Fired home to Craig. Bounces in, and it's ball 3. Starts off with a impressive outs against Chase Dawson, hitting the zone well, and struggled to hit the zone so far in this count.
Well, let's see if it's an automatic strike 1 or ball 4.
The 3-0. Called strike 1.
It was a strike 2. It wasn't a courtesy strike.
Don't forget the Otters welcoming the Florence Y'alls tomorrow night. First pitch is scheduled for 6:35. You can catch it right here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Bill McEwen and I will walk you through every pitch. The 3-1 lifted high, mid-deep to left center field. Gordon seems to be underneath it, and he is for out number 2.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that far, to be honest with you. It was an uppercut swing, and there's the flag. I don't see the flag at all anymore.
It's just staying straight down. It's almost impossible to see with the way it's just laying on the flagpole.
Oh, yeah, because I can't see it. Yeah, I see it now. You're right. It's just laying there. So what held it and carried it that far out, I don't know.
Well, Gordon took an initial step inward and then realized, oh, it's not staying inward. It's flying out towards me. So it must have just been some solid contact from Craig. Mike Hart's at the plate now. He had the solo home run in the first that broke the game open. First pitch to him. Launches one to right field. Baez chasing back towards the warning track. On the track and brings it in for out number 2. Or now out number 3, sorry.
And I'll tell you what, that might have been run 5. That was hit hard.
Very well could have been gone, but Otters get a gift there. We head to the bottom half of the seventh. Time to stretch wherever you're at. Otters trail by 2 here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. To the bottom of the seventh inning we go. Otters still trail by 2. George Khalil, Anthony Tarelis, and Devin Buckner are going to be the 3 that try to change that fact here in the bottom half of the seventh.
Well, the Otters have been known in past years and this year as well to score in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and let's hope that tradition continues.
George Khalil is 0 for 2, grounding into a fielder's choice and a strikeout so far. First pitch, skied out towards center field. Chasing is Milazzo. Long run, and it got past him. He slid right past it.
And base hit. Base hit.
Absolutely. It definitely deserved to be a base hit. That was a long run for Milazzo. In all seriousness, that was a play I kind of expected Dawson to go back and grab, but he left it alone. He thought it was flying way past him, and then it just kind of died. Unlike that play that went to Gordon last half inning.
Yeah, okay.
Third baseman Anthony Tarelis at the plate now. Had 2 hits last night, but he's 0 for 2 so far in this one.
Well, we need runners. Whether it's a base hit or walk or an error or a hit batter, we need runners. So let's play it cautiously.
First pitch to Tarelis. Stays a bit inside.
Ball 1.
I tell you what, if Tarelis can get himself on, there's runners on first and second. It sets up a Devin Buckner sacrifice bunt. You could get guys on second and third. If you can get Tarelis on, it saves things. There goes Khalil towards second after the overthrow to first. He's headed to third.
Go to third.
They're trying to say that the ball's out of play, and they are going to say the ball's out of play.
Back to second and putting them back.
Must have got
second.
stuck underneath the Otters seating area for their bullpen down there.
Oh, wait a minute. He's still on third. That umpire on the bases, he kept pushing back to second. And what is the call? Wait a minute.
I think they're saying that it didn't leave the playing surface until he was well past.
Oh.
They couldn't make a play because it was well under by the time they got to it.
Oh, okay. Well,
regardless,
game has changed now.
A sac fly can bring you 1 run closer now.
Exactly.
Anthony Tarelis zooms one out towards center. Milazzo will get to it. Park underneath. There's out 1. Here comes Khalil. Play at the plate. Not in time.
Way to go.
And the error on the pitcher has come back to haunt Schaumburg.
We're in a different ball game now. Now it's 4-3, and we're in the 7th inning. We've got many, many more outs to go to catch up and get that tying run.
Tell you what, you play 9 for a reason. There's no better way to say it. You said it perfectly.
Well, you said it earlier when we started that the Otters are a scoring team in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and you just proved yourself truthful. Boy, that is a big run.
Absolutely. 0-1 count for Buckner. Put it right towards the shortstop, Craig. He steps over a few steps for out number 2.
You couldn't ask for a better contact than that. Line drive, but directly at the shortstop.
Second baseman, number
So with
8.
2 outs, Andy Armstrong's headed to the plate. Even if Armstrong fails to record a hit and gets out here, the Otters have brought themselves 1 run closer, so they've done something right this half inning.
Yeah.
Anytime you get the leadoff man on, you've got to find a way to bring him
Well,
home.
we've talked about Andy being a great bunter. Look at the third baseman. If we need runners on, Andy's got a heck of a shot. Well, did you see that? That third baseman come running in on that play. So, he's aware of this potential bunter.
It was a mighty curveball from Arjona to start the count. Second pitch is a called strike on the outside edge. He went curveball, fastball, and I'd expect him to go right back to the curveball here.
And the third baseman moved deep now because there's 2 strikes.
The 0-2, way outside.
You know, I've said it many times. Buddy Kerr, former shortstop for the New York Giants in the 30s and the 40s, they say was the greatest 2-strike bunter in baseball.
The 1-2. Push to the right side. Down the line for a base hit.
Double.
Armstrong plugging around first. Heading towards second.
Maybe
there he
third,
goes towards third. It's a triple for Andy Armstrong.
Way to go, Andy.
And the dugout loves it. Why wouldn't they?
Well, all we need now is a pass ball, or what's the umpire on the bases talking about?
I think the catcher Odo was just trying to get himself a mound to visit, and now the pitching coach will come have a full conversation. Might be the end of Kyle Arjona's day.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think he deserves to be taken out. He's pitching a wonderful game.
And I tell you, you cannot put a ball any more finely down the line.
And you're right. I mean, that was an unusual a triple.
Well, Arjona's going to see his day come to an end. We'll let you know who's coming in for him right after this. Otters have brought the game to within 1, and a 2-out triple has the game-tying run just 90 feet away. See what the Otters can do right after this. And we are ready to continue things here in the bottom of the 7th. Christian Scott, the man called upon out of the bullpen. He appeared in last night's game as well. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Scott on the mound. Odo behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. And I said that wrong. I apologize. Christian Scott appeared 2 nights ago.
What's his record on wild pitches? Does he have a record of wildness?
I don't see an exact one here. Okay. I do know that he had none in his last appearance against the Otters, where he gave up no runs on no hits in his 1 inning of work.
Okay, we got Miles Gordon. He's come through on many occasions for the Otters in the latter innings, and hopefully he can do it again now.
First pitch to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, was a called strike. Tell you what, someone right across the street still blowing up fireworks, and they are very loud here inside Bosse Field.
Yeah.
That's why you see some smoke blowing across the outfield.
Yeah, we had that last night.
Yep. The 0-1 to Gordon. Swinging strike two on a pitch that broke down away from him.
Yeah. He ended up with the one-hand swing because it was lowered outside. There's a big gap there between short and third, which would bring Armstrong home easily, but definitely.
The 0-2 pushed towards the right side. I think it's going to end up foul, and it is.
Okay.
Augie Gallardo is starting to warm up for the Otters in the right field bullpen.
The Boomers are still out hitting the Otters 7-6. And you alluded to last night, the Otters won, but only had 4 hits last night. So the Boomers are out hitting the Otters in all games.
Boy, could this change the whole landscape of this game if Gordon can bring home Armstrong. The 0-2 to Gordon. Push down the right field side and foul.
He's protecting that plate, and that's what you got to do. We've had the runners on third before and couldn't bring them home. This is a must right now.
When Armstrong gifted it to you, the 2-out triple.
Oh, my God. Andy has come through so much in the last couple of weeks. He's just unbelievable.
The 0-2 to Miles Gordon once again. Bounces in. Just barely gets behind Odo, and he's able to keep it close.
Right, that's what you need as catcher to do. Throw that body in front of that pitch and keep the ball in front of you.
And that's a catcher with 300-plus games of professional game experience.
Yeah. Well, that's why you got a chest protector and a mask. Mm-hmm. Block that ball. You're not going to get hurt. And if you do, so what? Be an Oriole.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Miles Gordon. The pitch. Big curveball for a called strike 3. That is a wonderful pitch from Christian Scott. It ends the half inning. The Otters strand a man at third, but a sac fly RBI from Anthony Torrelas has brought the Otters to within 1. We head to the 8th inning. 4-3 is the score. Well, we head to the 8th inning. Otters trail by 1. Jacob Bowles is going to remain on the mound, and I didn't imagine a game going any differently after the first 2 games of this series. With these 2 squads, this is kind of what you expect.
Well, the people who came out to see this series have certainly got their money's worth, whether it's tonight or the last 2 nights. I mean, my heart, I've got to check with the doctor to see if it's still working.
Braxton Davidson at the plate now. His first pitch from Bowles.
Strike.
Called strike on the low outside edge. Davidson is 2 for 3. A couple of singles, 1 with an RBI. And a ground out. The 0-1 for Braxton Davidson. Bowles sends it his way. Swinging strike 2.
You know, it's amazing. You look up there in the scoreboard, and his batting average is 204. And yet, to me, he's one of the best offensive hitters they got in the lineup.
Well, that's the crazy thing. It was 204 entering the series. It's a 223 now
Yeah,
after
well,
his rock solid couple days.
Well, I'll tell you what, to me, he's a good bat.
Yeah.
He does overswing a little, but yet he makes contact.
The 0-2 for Davidson. Bounces in for ball one. Buckner's able to keep it close. Count expands out to 1-2.
When are we ever going to find out the answer to Phillips's problem? Because I'm not saying anything about Buckner now, but we could use Phillips's bat in that lineup.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting to hear back if surgery has to be the answer or not.
Oh, well, I hope not.
The 1-2 to Davidson. Swinging, strike three. And Jacob Bowles picks up his first German-American Bank strikeout of the game. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Matt Botcher, who will surely be playing in the All-Star game in just under a couple of weeks. He's currently 1 for 3 with an RBI single, a grounded double play, and strikeout. He still holds the Frontier League's highest batting average at 400. First pitch he sees, sends it down the first base line. Bierman will pick it up and step on first for out number 2. That just barely stayed inside the foul line.
You know, again, I'm not against anybody, but I'm rooting for the Otters and I'm hoping that the best players are out in the field. And I believe Bierman belongs on first base continuously. I mean, he's got a good glove, he's got a good bat, and that's not taking anything away from anyone else.
First pitch to William Solis. Sent foul down the right field line. Might stay fair. It will, and Baez brings it in for out number 3. Quick 8th inning there. Good work from Jacob Bowles. We head to the bottom half of the 8th. Otters looking for 1 run to tie, 2 to take a huge lead.
Low 3/4 slinger.
We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning here, and Darrell Thompson is going to enter the game for the Boomers. Now, of course, this is not necessarily a save situation, but he's tied for 8th in the league with 6 saves this year. He's appeared in 22 games, has an ERA of 175, has given up just 6 runs on 19 hits and well over 25 innings of work.
He's got a good delivery. He whips that ball. He's a slinger. If I was to put a report in, he's got a quick arm action and pretty good velocity.
Otters are going to have Bierman, Davis, and Sinsley due up in the half inning. Now, keep in mind, it is only the 8th inning. They still have the extra 9th if they need it. They'd sure like to get it done right here. I want to let you know that this Call of Bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And it's Thompson on the mound. Odo behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. I think Thompson's ready for his last warm-up pitch. Gallardo is still throwing down there for the Otters, but Logan Sawyer's right there available too, so if the Otters tie or take the lead, he'll be ready to start throwing for him instead.
Well, here comes the man you said is due, and I'd love to see him hit one out of here. I'll tell you, he hasn't had a home run in quite a while, has he?
He grabbed one at Gateway. It was a game-tying home run, and 3 batters later, George Khalil gave the Otters the win with a 3-run homer. But other than that, he's been pretty cold with the home runs recently.
Yeah, I mean, he was leading the league there earlier in the season with 8, 9, and then all of a sudden something happened, and
The first pitch is fouled to the right side.
I tell you, that was 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and Zach got around there real quick and pulled it.
Bierman still is tied for 3rd in the league with 14 home runs,
which is quite an accomplishment. I tell you, well, he didn't bother Zach on that fastball.
The 0-1 to Bierman. Right back up the middle, through for a base hit. Hey, get the leadoff man on and let everybody start following from behind. Someone's got to start the bus.
Yep, and that was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and I said Zach was getting an iron on it. So no matter what the velocity is, now we need a good bunt from Davis to move that runner into second in scoring position.
J.R. Davis at the plate here, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a ground out so far.
Well, he's got his chance to lay a perfect bunt down. Remember, sacrifice bunt means get the runner over. You do not need to be on first.
First pitch to J.R. Davis. Hefty swing as he fell over, and it's a swinging strike 1.
Well, I guess I called that one wrong. I mean, look what the third baseman is playing.
Defense is played in deeper double play positioning around the entire infield. The 0-1 to J.R. Davis. Way inside, and the count evens up.
Well, Andy's down there calling him. He's giving signs. Do you ever notice when Andy finishes up his signs, he always gives you a clap?
1 ball, 1 strike.
And Bierman needs a bigger lead.
Swinging strike 2 on Davis. Got caught swinging at something low and inside.
Oh, there goes my bunt.
So a big pitch here for J.R. Davis with no outs and a 1-2 count. Got to make your out mean something here.
He's got to hit that ball somewhere.
The 1-2 bounces in. The count evens up.
And Odo did a pretty good job of sweeping that out of the dirt. He's, as you said, 900 and some odd games he's caught. Well, he's an experienced catcher. That means he's played at least 7, 8 years of.
Well, 300 games, yeah.
Oh, 300 games, not 900.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My mistake.
2-2 for J.R. Davis. Stays a bit high, and it's a full count.
Now, is Andy going to have him running? It's as a manager or coach, this is a very interesting thing.
It's all about risk and reward.
You're going to take a chance and gamble? Or are you playing it safe?
The 3-2 lifted high and foul to the right side.
Well, the answer was he was playing it safe. Bierman wasn't running. But Andy's giving signs down there now.
Bierman stands on first. J.R. Davis looking at a full count with no outs. Otters trail by 1 here in the bottom of the 8th.
It'd be great if it beat ball 4.
Daryl Thompson fires home. The 3-2, and it's swung on and missed. J.R. Davis with his 3rd strikeout of the day. That will bring up the designated hitter, Steven Sinsley, who's 0 for 3. Great time to grab first base hit of the game.
Okay, Steven. Look at that hole between short and third.
They're going to throw over, and Bierman's back in time. Sinsley will take his time to step back in.
There's no controversy now about where he belongs in that batter's box
No, he
compared to
not asked.
two times ago.
First pitch to him, and it's ball one somehow. Yeah. I thought that was going to be a called strike on the high inside corner.
I thought it was a strike, I'll be honest.
Kind of had that front door access to it.
Good thing we're not robot umpires.
1-0 the count to Steven Sinsley with a runner on first and 1 out.
Strike.
That one is a called strike.
Yeah. And being a left-hand pitcher, Bierman can't get that extra step on first base because lefties are hard to read.
And it's just not worth getting picked off.
Exactly.
1-1 the count for Steven Sinsley with 1 on and 1 out. Big movement on that pitch, but it stayed high. I mean, these are half an inch, maybe an inch outside the zone. Very close pitches.
Yep. Again, this guy's a slinger.
2-1 for Steven Sinsley. Swinging strike 2. Big swing there.
What was that? 92-mile-an-hour fastball. With that slinging type motion that he's got, a 92-mile-an-hour fastball really shows you more velocity, maybe 97, 98.
With 2 balls and 2 strikes, Steven Sinsley waiting at home. The pitch. A half swing. Did he go? No, he did not, says the umpire out in the field.
Did we get a break? And it's 3-2. We're in the same situation as the last batter.
3-2 count. 1 out, a runner on first. Otters trying to find some sort of offense here.
And Baez is the next batter. I'm not going to take a chance of Bierman running.
Absolutely not. The 3-2. A called strike 3. A high called strike 3. And Steven Sinsley is quite upset there. And there will be a meeting at the mound now. That's a tough pitch for Steven Sinsley. Looked high, that's why he took it. Thought he was going to be on first, and instead he's heading back to the dugout.
I'm going to go back to the old philosophy. If it's good enough to be called a strike, it's good enough to be swung at. You know, when you're batting with a 3-2 count, it's not you, the batter, calling the pitch. It's the umpire. So anything looks close, you better be swinging. It's up to Baez now. Bring in the tying run.
Jeffrey Baez is 2 for 3, a single, a 2-run home run, and a foul out so far in this game.
Now, this is the 8th inning. Didn't the 7th inning we leave a man on third? In the 6th inning we left a man on third?
Just in the 7th, but at the 5th as well.
Okay, 5th.
First pitch to Jeffrey Baez. Sent very high to the outfield. Doesn't even get out of the infield, in fact. Dawson is underneath it for out number 3, and that will take us to the 9th inning. Otters down by 1. They're going to have to come back in the 9th if they want to come back. 9th is coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Well, we head to the top of the ninth inning, and the Otters are going to make a pitching change. Augie Gallardo making his way out of the bullpen. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Gallardo is making his second straight appearance in a game. He played last night through one inning, gave up no runs on no hits, striking out one of the three batters he faced. He has pitched a ton. In the last 10 games alone, he's pitched in 7 of the 10, 8 of the 11 if you count tonight. He has been a big-time part of this Otters pitching staff since joining. It's Gallardo on the mound, Buckner behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Greenriver Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Well, the task is simple here. You cannot allow a base runner, or you can't allow a run. That's the big thing.
Let's put it this way. We can't allow anyone to get on base.
That would be even better.
Yes. What we got to do is throw strikes, let them hit the ball, and let our fielders make the out.
It's the 7, 8, 9 hitters due up. Jordan Wiley, Nick Odo, and Brett Milazzo here in the ninth inning. Boomers looking for insurance. Otters looking for a quick 3 outs. First pitch to Jordan Wiley. Lifted high and fouled left side, out of play. Just a heads up, the Otters are going to have George Khalil, Anthony Torrelas, and Devin Buckner due up in that half inning.
And who do we have coming off the bench that could pitch hit? Now, I'm not saying Buckner can't get a hit, but a situation like this, he might be
0-1 is a called strike on the outside edge. Well, Justin Felix and Brody Tanksley are both available, but those are the only two available, as Elijah McNamee still away from the team with family right now, so there's just 2 bench players available.
Okay.
The 0-2 to Jordan Wiley. Way inside,
Hit him.
Half swings.
Did it hit him?
It did hit him, but Buckner was trying to call for the appeal to say that he swung. They say he did not, so a hit by pitch will get him on base.
Well, I'll give Buckner credit for appealing that. No, it hit him. They're giving him first base.
It was a hit by pitch.
Yeah.
But if he had swung enough around, it would have been a strikeout.
Yes. Yes.
And I'll echo you. That's great work on Buckner's job to realize that's what happened, but keep asking for that appeal down there. Why not?
It doesn't cost. It doesn't cost any. I did it religiously. So the umpire says, no, it wasn't. Okay. But if you're lucky enough, the umpire says, yeah, you're right.
Nick Odo at the plate now. He shows bunt and pulls away in time for ball 1. Buckner pump fake towards first, but he didn't really have a play even if he wanted to throw down because Odo was in front of him. I think it was more of a get back on first pump. The 1-0 towards Nick Odo. See if he shows bunt again. He does. Bunts it high behind home plate, and Buckner can't get back to it. Even if he did, it went into the netting, so it wouldn't have mattered.
You know, in 1984, I was employed by the San Diego Padres, and Dick Williams was our manager. We were National League champs. Do you know in this situation, Dick Williams would have the shortstop coming in to field that bunt? Can you believe that?
1-1 the count to Nick Odo. He still has a potential to lay down a bunt here. He is showing bunt. And it works inside and hits him.
Oh, my God. 2 batters, two hit batsmen. Oh,
and at first, it sounds like Andy McCauley was, he was making a couple of hand movements down there. He was frustrated because I think he was thinking that he leaned into it with the bunt. But regardless, it is a hit by pitch, and there's runners on first and second.
You can't argue what a batter does, but you were right. I've seen batters go for the bunt and just pull the bat back, but get hit with the pitch, and the umpire say, no, it's a strike.
Well, and in that situation, you saw Nick Odo leaned over for the bunt. It went off something. Could have been his arm, could have been the edge of the bat, could have been a lot of different things, could have been the hand, a lot of things. But as soon as it happened, he dropped the bat and started running and just assumed, I get the bag. And after he started running, then the home plate umpire pointed down to first.
Okay.
Still no outs. There's runners on first and second as Brett Milazzo's at the plate. And he sees ball one go by.
Yeah.
Jake Polancic starting to throw for the Otters in the bullpen now.
See, now where the pitcher's got to cover the bunt down the third base because the third baseman can't come in and field it.
1-0 bunt is popped up to the left side and out of play.
Zach's got to cover anywhere from the mound to the first base line, and the pitcher has to cover from the pitcher's mound to third base side. Shorts at third base has got to stay in his third base slot.
1-1 the count to Brett Milazzo. Gallardo has his count ready, showing bunts all the way was Milazzo. He pulls away, and it's ball outside.
Oh boy, that looked like a strike ever.
A lot of disagreement from the individuals throughout Bossy Field. Counts at 2-1. See if Milazzo shows bunts again. He is. Pulls away, and it's ball three on the outside.
Now, did you see what I saw? And that is, I thought he jabbed at that pitch. Therefore, it should have been a strike. Now, there's an appeal.
The problem with the appeal is because there's no umpire down the third base line, it's harder for him to see in this scenario. The 3-1, he bunts this time. Picked up by Torrelas. The throw to first.
Safe. He's safe.
Is safe.
He is
Armstrong
safe.
was saying that he thought he had tagged him, but Armstrong has to be happy that the pitch didn't, or the throw didn't go by him.
Yeah, he leaped in the air. And it was a bad throw. But again, third baseman had to come in. I mean, that bunt was fielded maybe 15 feet away from home plate. And anyway.
Bases are loaded with no outs.
With no outs.
And one of the Frontier League's most electric hitters at the plate.
Yeah.
Chase Dawson ready on the first pitch. No outs, bases loaded, top of the ninth. Sends one foul to the left side and out of play.
And a red ball brought to you by Hex Construction. Choose the best, never regret it.
So Dawson taking an extra couple of seconds to step back in. The 0-1, and Gallardo's going to step off. Oh, 1 count to Chase Dawson. Sent to the right side, picked up by Armstrong. To second for one, to first. Takes Bierman off the plate, or off the bag, I'm sorry, and a run's going to score.
Yep, so now it's 5-3.
It'll be a 4-6 fielder's choice that allows Dawson to reach. He gets an RBI on the play.
Yep.
And there's runners on first and third now.
With one out. Yep.
That'll bring up Alec Craig, the shortstop, who's 0 for 4 in the game. Otters really needed to get 2 outs there. First pitch to Craig. A half swing, and it's a called strike. So the Boomers now have an extra run of insurance here. Up 5-3. Oh, 1 count for Alec Craig. His pitch. Big curveball falls in for a called strike 2. That's a big pitch for Gallardo to get. Runners on the corners. 1 out. Schaumburg leads by 2 now. The 0-2 to Craig. Fired out to second on the wrong side of the bag. And it's going to be a stolen base. And it was a ball. I thought maybe they had got the strikeout. They did not.
No, it was too low and outside. What's the umpire on third holding his hand up for? Whatever. Anyway, Runners are in scoring position.
And there's no double play now, at least not the easy
right.
ground double play. The 1-2 to Craig. Big curveball almost catches him and hits him. Gallardo thought for sure he should have got the called strike. Well, if there's one word you could label this game with for the Otters, it's frustration.
And if I'm going to say, I'm going to go off the record and say this, that if the Otters lose, which I hope they don't, but if they do, it's not only a win for the Boomers, it's a win for the umpire, home plate umpire. I thought he umpired a terrible game.
3-2 count for Craig now after Gallardo goes outside. Defense is all playing very in. The 3-2 to Craig. Sent towards Armstrong. A diving play. He walks the runners back, then throws to first. That is an amazing baseball IQ play from Armstrong. Backed up by a great dive.
Well, I keep bragging about he's the best infielder on the team. Every game, in one way or another, he proves his effectiveness as a defensive player.
That's a hard play to make when he's in his regular position.
That's right.
He was playing in and still dove at that ball.
And got the out and held the runner on third.
I'll tell you what, that's a wonderful play from Armstrong. First pitch to Hart. Big curveball called strike one.
If the Otters were to win this game, this pitcher ought to take Armstrong out to dinner.
I'll tell you what, if the Otters were to win this game, that's the game-winning play.
Yep.
That's what gave them the opportunity to win.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
That sneaks past him. 2 runs score for sure. And this game is way blown out of proportion.
Oh, I would agree with you. Because if it got by Armstrong, it would have just rolled slowly. And
Gordon would have had to come charging it.
And Gordon wouldn't have been able to make a play at home plate.
He wouldn't have had enough time to even get to the ball, probably.
Exactly.
0-1 to Mike Hart with runners on second and third and 2 outs. Outside for ball 1, and Gallardo landed a bit hard as he was coming around with the pitch, and immediately he turns around and readjusts the dirt.
Well, we put extra dry stuff out there on the mound way back in the 3rd or 4th inning because you were alluding to there might have been a little mud out there.
1-1 for Hart. It's ball 2 on the outside. (5-3) the score in favor of Schaumburg. They've got runners at second and third with 2 outs in the 9th. A 2-1 count to Mike Hart. Big curveball sent off the end of the bat, and it's brought in by Armstrong. Otters minimizing damage there. We head to the bottom of the 9th. They need 2 runs to tie, 3 runs to win. The finale's coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. To the bottom of the 9th inning we go, and a pitching change needed for Schaumburg. As we head to the bottom of the 9th, it's Jake Joyce who will get the nod out of the bullpen for Schaumburg. On the season, Joyce has a 289 average in 19 appearances. He's given up 8 runs on 18 hits and 19 innings of work. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. The battery, Joyce on the mound, Odo behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Khalil, Torrelas, and Buckner due up in the half inning. You got to approach this one batter at a time.
Yes, and I'm wondering, I'm just asking myself, why did you change pitchers? That last pitcher he had was, I thought, was very, very effective.
Yeah, I thought he was really good as well. It's possible that, at least to what it looked like to me at a quick glance for Darryl Thompson, nearly every one of his opportunities this year were very quick opportunities. So they maybe just didn't want to go further than they expected, and you never know. We'll find out in a few minutes if it was a good choice or not.
Yes, we will, because too many times the game is more or less in a good, safe position, and managers change pitchers, and before you know it, you're on the losing end instead of the winning end.
Khalil's 1 for 3 on the day. First pitch to him. Big curveball for called strike 1.
Off speed, what was it, 68?
Khalil
77.
Khalil scored the run to get the Otters 1 run closer back in the 7th. He got to first, and then a throw over. Got over the first baseman's head. He got all the way to third. Scored on a sac fly by Torrelas. The 0-1 to Khalil. Swinging strike 2. And, of course, giving up that run in the top of the 9th has taken away the we just need one.
Yeah, the runner gets on. The sacrifice from the second is gone. You can't give away outs in this in the 9th inning.
The 0-2 for Khalil. Outside ball 1. Otters have already won the series, by the way, as they won games 1 and 2.
Well, being an outsider, what's the story with Washington tonight?
It's a good question. The 1-2 to Khalil. A half swing.
No, he didn't.
And they
no,
say,
he
yes,
didn't.
he did go.
Oh, my goodness.
A swinging strike 3 has set down George Khalil with the first out of the inning. It'll bring up Anthony Torrelas. Let's take a quick look through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. And it appears that, that's right, Washington not in action today because they played game 1 of their series against Windy City on July 4th. Instead of playing a long series over the weekend, they moved their whole series forward today. So today is an off day for Washington.
Okay. So if the Otters were to lose, then they'd be a full game behind.
Yep, and if they won, they would tie it. Okay. Pitch to Torrelas. A called strike on the high outside corner. Keep in mind, Washington and Evansville are going to face next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, here at Bosse Field, the last 3 games before the All-Star break. Should be a fun weekend of games. The 0-1 to Torrelas, skied high, foul right behind home plate. It gets back over the seating area, though. And quickly an 0-2 count for Torrelas. Jake Joyce taking his time to get back onto the bump.
Well, the Otters have been out hit again tonight, 8-7.
The 0-2. Swinging strike 3, and the Otters are down to their last out.
I guess this manager knew what he was doing when he brought this guy in.
It'll be Devin Buckner, who earned his first professional hit in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3 on the day. He just about had his second one his last time up, but it couldn't quite get past the shortstop. A little bit of a wait before Buckner steps in, representing the final out of the game for the Otters. First pitch to Buckner, outside ball 1.
Well, Buckner's got to get on, and the next batter's got to get on to tie the game.
Well, it's Devin Buckner, then Andy Armstrong, then Miles Gordon. So 2 strong hitters to follow Buckner if he can find a way on.
Andy has done his share in the last week.
A 1-0 to Buckner. Stays high for ball 2.
Stranding him at third base and last time at bat really hurt us.
The Otters have stranded 2 separate men at third base today. Two balls, no strikes. To Devin Buckner. First strike comes here on a pitch right at the elbows.
That looked like that was high outside. I'll tell you what, I think this umpire's done a terrible job tonight of umpiring. He might be the best umpire, but tonight he's not.
A 2-1 on the way home. Swinging strike 2 for Buckner, and the Otters are down to their last strike. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Otters need something here. The 2-2 to Devin Buckner. Zoomed out to left. Hart chasing back towards the warning track at the wall. Gone! In his first professional game, Devin Buckner's hit his first home run.
Yeah.
Otters still need one more, but the newbie has brought him 1 run closer. And regardless, at least later tonight, once all the dust settles from that, he'll be able to smile about that one.
I tell you what, that's 2 hits his first game. The game that he's played for the Otters, he's got 2 hits.
And that was a rocket off the bat.
Yes, it was. Now here comes Armstrong. He's certainly done his share this past week. I don't know if he's got the power to hit one out or not, but I wish he did.
Just got to get on base now.
That's all. But even if he does, he's got to score.
2 outs, nobody on. The first pitch to Andy Armstrong. Stays high for ball 1.
I was hoping that umpire didn't say strike 1.
Oh yeah, I was definitely afraid of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether this guy's going to call a strike or a ball, no matter where it's at.
The 1-0 count, pitch to Andy Armstrong. A half swing, yes, he did go around, and his count evens up.
If I was down there in the dugout, I'd say that every batter swing at everything because you don't know what the umpire's going to call.
Looks like Logan Sawyer is throwing here and there just in case the game is tied and we go to a 10th.
Well, I hope it is tied.
1-1 count for Andy Armstrong. Stays low for ball 2. Need I remind you, if Armstrong can get on, Miles Gordon 2 separate times this year has had solo home runs tie games in the ninth. He could have a chance to win the game for the Otters if Armstrong gets on.
You called it.
2-1 count for the second baseman, Andy Armstrong. A half swing, and it's a called strike. Late call there from Unthank at the plate.
Well, Andy's got to be swinging at everything.
Yeah, at a 2-2, you can't take the risk.
That's right. Unless it's behind him, then he can't swing.
The 2-2 to Andy Armstrong. Swinging strike 3, and the ball game ends. Otters fall just short of this one. They're able to take the series, but the win streak ends at 9 games. Andy McCauley gives his parting thoughts to the home plate umpire on his way out, and then shakes hands with the head man for Schaumburg before heading back towards his dugout. We'll keep it right here for our post-game debrief. Otters just end up on the wrong side of this one, but some positivity at the end. Let's start from the beginning of things. The Boomers got things started right away in the first. A solo home run from Mike Hart set the pace in the game. Then a third inning to forget for Austin Gossman. Got himself to 2 outs, was in a good place, but a hit by pitch had 2 guys on, and then back-to-back-to-back RBI singles drove the lead up to 4-0. Then we waited all the way to the 7th inning when the Otters finally scored on a sac fly RBI by Anthony Torrelas. A two-run home run from Jeffrey Baez in the fourth is what brought the Otters a little closer. It was a sac fly RBI from Torales that brought the Otters to within one. We hit the top of the ninth inning, and Schaumburg did exactly what they needed to do: go grab a run of insurance. They got it on an RBI fielder's choice from Chase Dawson, and we head to the bottom of the ninth inning. Otters down by 2. After a couple of strikeouts, one of which was a little frustrating for the Otters, Devin Buckner, in his first professional game, got his second hit of the ball game, a no-doubter home run to left field to bring the Otters to within 1. But Andy Armstrong goes down swinging, and the Otters fall just short in this one, 5-4. They're tied at 8 hits apiece in the game. Schaumburg had 1 error. The Otters had none. Arjona is going to advance to 3-4 on the season. Austin Gossman will fall to 3-2. Jake Joyce is going to earn his 3rd save of 2022. Got to be happy with the Otters' efforts to get themselves back in this.
I'll agree with you. But then again, the relief pitchers gave up that run in the 9th inning. Otherwise, we'd be playing the International League rules right now. It would be a tie game.
The thing that stands out to me most about this game is in the middle inning, Steven Sinsley has a really rough at-bat between striking out in the end of it, but also disagreeing with the home plate umpire on where he should be standing, disagreeing with the called strike after the inning. There was a lot of chaos there. The Otters had to find something to get their heads back on right. It was followed by a Jeffrey Baez home run. I thought the Otters did well to get their mentality flipped right back on in the game, but they did fall just a bit short.
Well, yep. And anyway, there goes that streak that Otter, that would have been a record streak, right?
Well,
10 games in a row.
Yeah, it would have been a new record. The good thing about the 9-game winning streak is it does go down in history. They tied the all-time Otters win streak, and it'll go down for good. And you know what? Like every good thing, it must come to an end. The Otters can start a new 9-game winning streak tomorrow. This is a very good Schaumburg team. I fully expect this is a Schaumburg team that will make a run for the playoffs. They're the defending champions for a reason. It's because they have good coaching. They have good players who get big hits when they need to, and that's what they did tonight to get a very important win here on the road.
Well, I'll agree with you. They got a couple of good potential hitters there with the guy that's got the possible set a record for triples, and the guy that's leading the league in batting. And then you got the guy that jumps off the boat to swing, Davison. My God, they're pretty good hitters.
Well, the Otters are going to keep things here for the next 3 games. They'll welcome the Florence Yalls to town for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Then they hit the road to face these Schaumburg Boomers for a Tuesday through Thursday series next week. They're in Schaumburg. And unfortunately, that's it for the season series between these two teams. And that is kind of heartbreaking to me. This is a fun series. These two teams play good games. While there was frustration with both teams in the home plate umpire, there never seemed to be frustration between these two teams. They kept it civil. They played good games. And I hope we get to see more potentially postseason games between these two.
Let me say this. This probably has been the most interesting and heartbreaking 3-game series that we played all year. I mean, every one of these games have been down to the 9th inning, whereas one pitch could make the difference of who wins and who loses. People that paid to see the game here certainly got their money's worth.
Well, and as they've said about every great baseball team, even the best baseball teams lose games.
Yes.
You play 96 for a reason, and that's what the Otters are going to have to hang the hat on. They've got a Florence Yalls team coming to town tomorrow who is hungry for success. This Florence team is 17-29, 14 games out of the lead in the West Division, hungry for anything to go their way. When the Otters were at Florence a couple weeks ago, the Yalls took 2 out of 3 in the series, so you can't overlook this opponent. I'm sure that they'll refresh about what went down tonight, get here tomorrow, and get set for a new 3-game set.
Well, the Florence team has been in this league for a number of years, and it's always been a big rival for the Otters to when they play, whether it's there or here. And I'm counting on a big series that's going to really bring the crowd out and see outstanding baseball.
Well, we have 6:35 first pitches tomorrow and Saturday. Sundays is set for a 5:05. Tomorrow night, our friends from Habitat for Humanity and Eyewitness News, WEHT and WTVW, are joining us here at Bosse Field for numerous giveaways and raffles. On Saturday, Heritage Federal Credit Union and Boys and Girls Club are joining us for a League of Their Own night. We'll have a hat giveaway. They're going to auction off some themed jerseys, fireworks on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, the District 13 Little Leagues of Southwest Indiana will join us for a Dog Days of Summer. Bring the dog out and also get some discounted hot dogs while you're here. Should be a fun weekend of baseball between the Otters and the Owls. Things didn't go the Otters' way at the end of this one. They fall in the game 5-4. They do take the series, but unfortunately their 9-game winning streak comes to a close. They'll look to kick it off once again tomorrow and, take it one game at a time as we're inching closer and closer to that All-Star break.
And that game where the federal people are sponsoring, they give out a very, very good hat. So if you want a real quality hat, come out to the ball game and get a free hat.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for our coverage here of Otters baseball from historic Bosse Field. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, he's Bill McEwen. I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otters baseball. We will talk to you tomorrow night at 6:20 as the Otters welcome the Florence Yalls to town for the first time this season. You can catch the game both here on the Otters Digital Network for free audio only or on Flow Sports, and we'd be happy to walk you through every pitch of tomorrow night's game. We'll talk to you tomorrow as the Otters welcome the Yalls to town for the first time of 2022.